We made it. Oh,
Happy to
man.
be here.
Sunday, August 10th, 2025. The day where Sweeze and Tyler Liger finally get this show on the road.
We're finally doing it.
We're finally
doing it.
We're here.
We're here.
Last week we had Ed on. Just to give y'all some context from last week. Ed is gone for the next for this time, and next time is a little trip up to North Dakota. So, really, he'll have to tell us all about his trip when he gets back. So,
or at least that's the story you're telling people, right? That's where Ed is.
No, he's up in he's actually up in North Dakota. He's doing powwow stuff.
Living the life.
Yeah. He's doing Native American stuff, and he's doing powwow and singing. He's got a good singing voice, actually.
I could tell that just from last week. Great singer. That's one of the qualities.
Great singer. All right. Well, okay. All right. Finally. Tyler Anderson. Most of y'all know him. He's Tyler Liger. Most of people on X and Instagram or whatever. And then I got Sweeze. Sweeze in the house. No Sumo Dog sightings just yet. But Sweeze, for the rest of the class, tell us a little bit about yourself. This is your introductory episode. So yeah, you have the floor.
Well, awesome. Well, happy to be here on X and Instagram. I go by Sweeze, so shorten it to Sweeze. Kept it easy, short and simple. Originally from the Texas Panhandle. Went to college for broadcasting, journalism, writing, all that. Spent about a decade in Oklahoma, just, grinding in the workforce, working at all the call centers, picking up side hustle after side hustle, dream after dream after dream. And, this podcast was one of those. So always been interested in stuff like that. So reality, TV, entertainment, writing, big fan of wrestling. Big fan of sports. I would say basketball is my favorite right now. Thunder. I've always been a Thunder fan. So it goes wrestling, basketball, then reality, dating, TV, just trash TV.
Trash TV. Oh my gosh.
I'm here for it all. I'm excited to be here. I'm finally glad we got this up and running. It's always been something we talked about. So we're here. We're doing it, Tyler. We're doing it.
We're doing it. It is so okay. All right. So get this. So the reason why I was like, okay, all right, we got to do a podcast is because of the Sweeze and Swizzle show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? We can do this. We can do this. And I compared to like a regular podcast, I was like, let's just do it as a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's I had all the tools, I had all the stuff. It's just kind of getting reacquainted with everything. So
right.
it all fell into place. It really started getting serious maybe I would say maybe about a week or so ago, and I was like, all right, got to go through all the motions. Got to get the stuff that can bring the guests on, and all the hardware. Not really so much the hardware. It's more so the software, because I got enough hardware to be fine, at least for the next few years, at least until I gotta get a new graphics card and build a new rig, and that's money.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of where I was. You mentioned Sweeze and Swizzle. So Sweeze and Swizzle was a podcast type vlog that I wanted to do with my brother. And, I was a big fan of comedy. I was a big fan of all these comedians, all these people that go on the road. It kind of has a big crossover with wrestling. So stand-up comedy podcast. We just started doing it. It's like, okay, what do I have? How do I get it? How do I get it out there? And what am I even going to talk about? So it was a lot of learnings. It's been about a year since we did the Sweeze and Swizzle, and we were going to do weekly episodes. We were going to do promotions. We were going to do this and that. And then, one thing about these programs is you have to basically go and relearn everything, because I've been in college since, but the last time I was in college for real was a decade ago. So what we learned was basic 2010 versions, and that's 15 years ago. So we were able to figure it out, and we're here now. So we
did it. But for those uninitiated, there is kind of a running kind of a running meme or a running gag that involves several podcasts shouting out your dog. So where did that all come from, Sweeze?
Yeah, so pretty much every night there's a group chat of a podcast because comedy podcasts, these people have found each other. So these live streams, a lot of it's done through like X and tweeting and finding the people that are like find similar interests. So when I like cultivated my following on Twitter, it was like, I need this algorithm to work for me. Like if I'm looking at it at work, I don't want to have a not safe for work profile, so I'm worried about what's scrolling up. So it was really all about cultivating my audience and figuring out like, okay, this person likes this comedian, I'm going to start following them. Then I'll talk to them, be like, hey, I like so and so, do you have any insights? So through the years, I think the biggest one goes back to like the Legion of Skanks, and what they do is they're a podcast that's called the Most Offensive Podcast. You know, it's Louis J. Gomez, Big J. Okerson, Dave Smith, and they've been big in the comedy scene for a while. So that was one of my first festivals I went to, like a comedy festival. So that was 2020, right out of COVID quarantine, and we all went there and created a new strain, and then we all went home with all these new friends. And then through it all, I think with my experience with broadcasting and going through everything online of like, I didn't spend all that time in college or all this time to not network and not use myself to like put myself in an advantageous area of like, okay, I like this certain thing, but I live in the Texas Panhandle. Nobody really else knows anything about it except some dude in Dallas. But, you know, if we sit around, hang out, it's kind of how like Discord came together. So a lot of these communications are on Discord of, hey, what podcast is on? Or here's the link for this. Or have you checked so-and-so out on this? So Legion of Skanks, Gas Digital Comedy, a lot of like the East Coast comedy podcasts that were popular started like seeing my Instagram and seeing my dog Sumo, and they're like, oh, so that's a cute dog, you know, what's its name? Like, it's Sumo, it's everywhere, I've branded it, everyone knows Sumo. So then everyone in the chat on these daily chats, like let's say Legion of Skanks, Real Ass Podcast, Zach Amico's Morning Zoo, Durag and the Deer Tag, Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, all these people in the live chat are like, hey, have you seen Sweeze's dog? So about a year ago, after like a bunch of people in this chat for probably about 2 years, I would say, Louis J. Gomez, like one of the guys who we all follow his podcast, he was doing a podcast, and then the chat was saying, shout out Lewis, shout out Sumo Dog. And then he was just like, wait, what are you guys talking about? Am I Sumo Dog? And they're like, no, doggy, you're fine. Like it was just like a thing where once Lewis did that, he's kind of known for having these incidents. So once that happened, like everybody was just saying shout out Sumo. So not only is it like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's pretty much every week, every day. And Sunday is what I was always aiming for, because this is an off day for a lot of podcasts. So, you know, we can just say shout out Sumo on Sundays now. So that's the plan.
Shout out Sumo Dog. So, like, get a kick out of this. This is what I always get a kick out of, is because Sumo has made the rounds. Like, even I know about Sumo, and my friends know about Sumo. Mm-hmm. But my friend doesn't say shout out, like he doesn't do the shout out Sumo Dog. He does like Sumo Bear. So like that's when I'm always like Sumo Bear.
Yeah, I'd always be like Sumo Bear.
Sumo
and then
Bear. And then every now and then he pops onto a stream, or he pops onto a video, and then he has his little title belt because he's like world champion and everything. So.
Yeah, it was a great time to be I would say probably 2 years ago, where I had my own area, I had my own setup, and now like I had Sumo on the beanbag, and now it's just like, it's a very versatile way of being able to be on the go, but like to have that recurring character of Sumo is just like, all right, I got something to talk about. I'll tell you guys what Sumo and I did today. So
yeah, man. Speaking of podcasts, I mean, this is something that you've always wanted to do. This is something I've always wanted to do, and it worked out. Plus, it always helped that we're old college buddies too. So, but as far as this podcast, because I'm as long as we just stay consistent with it, we go into a rhythm. We'll get our audience. We'll find our niche, and so of all our of all the guests, like anybody who's anybody out there, as far as like a guest is concerned, who would you want to bring in as a guest?
So I would say I'm big on like motivation and life advice and like not every podcast, like if you watch a ton of true crime, it doesn't make you an expert on true crime. So like what I've kind of just delved into is like the morning motivation, wake up, just dudes being dudes, telling other dudes how to live their life. So I think a resurgence in like what is happening with Austin comedy, I would look at those people that came not only just for Kill Tony or not only just for Shane Gillis, but I would say my favorite would be probably a Mike Rainey. He's a Philly comic and he does a podcast with his friend Tim Butterly. They're both used to be Philly comics. They recently moved to Austin, but I'd be aiming more at the people that are out there grinding, the Mike Rainey's, the Lemaire's, producers behind the scenes. Like, I've always been fascinated, like, watching Joe Rogan's podcast and seeing, like, it's not just Jamie back there. There has to be, like, 8 or 9 people to see what goes on. Or, you know, like a Tom Segura and his wife's podcast, Your Mom's House. They got a whole, like, group of people back there. So what I'm kind of aiming for is, like, I want to hear the stories behind the storytellers. I want to hear the ups and the downs of life. I want to hear regular advice that really anybody could just pick up. So, you know, I would aim more for the Mike Rainey's, the Shane Gillis's, the Louis J. Gomez's, and I know you have no idea who these people are, but maybe like a Netflix comic, Mark Norman, Dusty Slay, the Are You Garbage guys. Is any of this?
Are you garbage? That, my gosh, like I thought mine was bad. I'm kidding, but. But no, yeah, like, you know, that's your realm. I mean, and heck yeah, we're open to that. We're definitely open. We might as well shoot for the stars. I mean, look how Shane Gillis has really blown up over the last few years, and I mean, his story is incredible. And then a ton of comics. I mean, you know, they all have humble roots, and yeah, they all got stories to tell. They all got war stories, or they all got road stories. Fortunately, in my field, we have both. So like, we can share like all the crash outs and our favorite moments and everything like that. But yeah, but anywho, I think I brought this up in the previous podcast. There's a few others that I want to bring on out here. I want to do everything and anything. So like, especially comedians. So comedians, if you hear us, jump on, man. We'd love to have you. We'd love to pick your brain. And I think as a disclaimer, like, the first time you come on, all you're doing is just introducing yourself and playing your greatest hits. That's kind of like the first one. And then if you're interested and you love to be back on here, man, like, then you can get into the road stories and the war stories and all the hecklers that you had to shut down, and what's the kind of the craziest green room you've been a part of. I mean, I know a little bit. Probably the people I would love to bring on would be like a lot of my friends. So I got a lot of sports ball friends, a lot of sports media people. There's also there's some people I follow on YouTube. There's some like localologists, if you can call them that. Shout out CJ Holiday, shout out John. They make fun of people like Cyrax and Dark Side Phil. Man, I can make fun of Dark Side Phil all day. And then also maybe like some VTubers. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but there's an audience out there for those VTubers, man, and they're more than just, you know, anime girls on the internet. It's they got a person behind them, and it's fun to kind of see what all goes into it, because you can't even conceive something like that when we were in college, that you can actually make a career out of being a VTuber. And it's really cool because it's like, it's privacy, it's anonymity, but you could still be well known. You could still display your talents even though you hide behind an avatar. But there's quite a few. those I already shouted out on X or whoever. I think I could get like a guy like Lord Mollington on. He's a British guy. He knows his VTubers, and he wants to be an American, so he wants to get out of England. So Lord Mollington, you ever hear this, or whoever clips this, Lord Mollington, come on over. There's plenty of room. There's especially plenty of room in Texas. We'd love to have you, brother, especially with your card games and such. But yeah, man, anything and everything, we'll talk about it.
That's what I thought was exciting about your little your VTuber and all that, was thinking like outside of the box. It's like, okay, how else can this just be like my regular old friend who has a story to tell or two, and then they come on here and then it's like, oh, this is the process, this is everything behind it. So like you mentioned, back in college we couldn't fathom it. We couldn't. It's so fast, everything's changing, and then it's so easy for someone to just go viral in like a Chewbacca mask, and like we're talking about it a decade later, or at least I'll never forget her, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
ways of the world,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to go viral. It takes like a crash out, or it takes something to where people are like, oh man, look what this guy did. I mean, you either become a hero or a clown. One of the two.
Yeah. And anytime it sort of looks like me, like I have to stay off social media, because I mean, there was a guy that went a little buck wild at a Bass Pro Shop and got into the aquarium and fell out of it 2 years ago. That came up on my Facebook memories, and it was like, hey, is this Sweeze? And I'm like, no, I haven't been to Bass. I wasn't at Bass Pro this weekend. I'm sorry. So.
Oh my gosh. But nah, anywho, leading up to this was kind of a crazy week for me. So, like, I'm in sports ball, and Texas high school football has started with the old two-a-days, and I was basically getting up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, meeting up with my good friend Kale, who will eventually be on the show. He actually did a podcast earlier today. They do Press Pass Sports, and the origin of Press Pass Sports is actually really cool, because it actually started off as a podcast, then it morphed into a website, and now it's like a full-blown media outlet with like reporters and photographers, and I mean, I always tell people like I'm in like a all-star team, because like I got like Lance Liner, and everybody knows Lance Liner in the Texas Panhandle. There's Lee Passmore. I got Lee Passmore stories for days, man. I don't want to be too hard on Lee. It's because it's out of love. And then there's Kale, and then there's Craig Speary. He's really awesome. There's a lot of really cool guys that are on that team. A lot of cool guys and gals that are part of that team, and they want to push into Lubbock, and then they're like, oh man, like I came in because I was tired of full-time media. So now like this, I can work at my own pace. I don't have as many big deadlines that I had to worry about when I was in Rapid City or in Carroll or Webster City or whatever. But I can still tell those stories, so it's really nice. But yeah. It's a sigh of relief to be back in Texas, and man, I love me the Texas Panhandle. I mean, we are kind of isolated. I mean, we're both of us are isolated now. We're kind of. I was like, man, it's 5 hours to Denver. It's another 5 hours to the Metroplex. I mean, and then you count on 2 hours plus the traffic in Denver and in the Metroplex, wherever you want to go. Which I mean, the cool thing is we're kind of like, we're isolated, but we're kind of in the middle of the world, because within like 6 hours we're somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not an hour or two drive to go to a lake or go hiking or, take the dogs out. And I've been kayaking this summer. That's been pretty neat to get to enjoy until, you flip flip backwards one time and you're like, oh no, never again. So yeah, no, this summer's been pretty crazy. And I mean, as far as just a conglomerate to have what they all have set up and like make things go so effortlessly, like that's what I was always aiming to strive for in whatever aspect I wanted to do. And that whatever I want to do is going to be writing about wrestling, writing about podcasts, writing about how to do whatever it is I learned to do. And I guess it's all about direction, but the Texas Panhandle certainly just, you have to take a step back and be like, okay, this is how things move here. So it's like one little town's going to be almost exactly like the other town. And from what it sounds like when you were up north, it just seemed like you were so all over the place, always getting into something. And then down here, it's like, I'm looking at this through my window and just seeing what's out there and what I could do. And it's like, you're right, there is a lot of opportunity here. So, I mean, that's what I was excited about coming back here and, ultimately finding a solid foundation on what the right move is next. So that's kind of what this summer's been about. So it's getting into the time where it's like, now I can execute all the plans I've been planning for. So it feels good to get stuff done,
Absolutely. But, I think one thing that we always kind of pride ourselves on is we make things work.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's good. Like it's good to get back into Texas high school football. Man, I love Texas high school football. There's only a few places I've been to that kind of matches the energy. Shout out South Central Calhoun. Shout out Wall. Wall, South Dakota, baby. So, I mean, have you ever heard of Wall Drug, though?
I've went when I was a child, and I mean, they remind me of like a Fritch, Texas, like a 1200, maybe, if I'm remembering it right, but I don't think it was that. What was it?
It's, okay, so, like, and if anybody from Wall catches the VOD, don't, like, I mean, I think if you're a local, you kind of stay away from it just because it's so touristy, but, Wall is, I think of Wall as like a cleaner Fritch. It's cleaner. Super nice school, turf football field, really good football team. They should be good again this year. They should be state semifinalists in South Dakota. Shout out Wall Eagles. Shout out Lex Heathershaw. Yeah, I know I'm throwing out all the shout outs, but but Wall Drug's really cool. I call it the world's greatest tourist trap. I tell people whenever you're in that area, go check it out. Just check it out at least once. It's just something that you go check out. Along with the Black Hills. Black Hills, just check it out once and just, I mean, there's so much stuff to see. But there's not as much tourist traps as there used to be, though.
Went to the motorcycle rally, and I think we did all the tourist traps in like 2 weeks when I was about 12. So, nice. Yeah, I mean, I remember the WCW Hog Wild where they did the pay-per-view of that, and that was around the same time. So I'm like, that's what I imagined it was like all the time when you lived up there. Just chaos. But I know it wasn't, but I'd like to dream, know?
Oh, yeah. But, and then once you get away from the rally, Sturgis is a really cool town. Their football field, like they're like right beyond their like press box and everything. And I have a really cool picture of it. It's like a cliff face, like right behind the press box in the home stands. It is really, really neat. Covered a game there, and I feel so bad. I mean, maybe some people don't mind it so much, but like Sturgis's mascot. So their high school is called Brown High School, and their mascot is called the Scoopers. And I'll let you put two and two together. But here, like, it's not because like it's like anybody shoveling poop or anything. It came from when Sturgis started, and Sturgis actually, like, they had like people that were hustling. They were hustling in the streets, and like these out of towners were like, man, we're getting scooped, and getting swindled in Sturgis. They were getting hustled, and so Sturgis like adopted the name of Scoopers because, like, I mean, it's like another word for a hustler, I mean it's not so much like that sort of tone where it's that bad, but really it's really good. But anywho, I'm sorry to like kind of divert topics away from like South Dakota or whatever, but sibling revelry. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Sibling Revelry, and it's Doug and Paul. Those
Okay.
are two brothers from Michigan. They are in the Upper Peninsula. They started a podcast during COVID. One of them worked for the government at the time of, whatever state that was that they were in. And then the other was a bus driver. So he liked the Legion of Skanks. He liked the same comedy. When I went to Skankfest, the comedy festival, I was like taking a ton of photos. That was the first podcast I was ever invited on. So yeah, Sibling Revelry.
Nice. How did you? I mean, along with stumbling onto that, like, because I noticed like the what was it? It was like the latest episode that had you in it, and I was like, was it a minute since you last been there? Because I was like, they just like threw you right in there. Like they didn't give you like, oh hey, we have Sweeze on. It's just like, because I was like, where's the intro? But I mean, you've been on there before, so I mean, I'm sure the audience got used to you.
Yeah, so I would say like the pushing motivating factor for me wanting to do podcasts, which started about a year ago, was them inviting me on about a year and a half ago. And it's literally like they wanted to create their own Saturday Night Live type sketch show type TV, movies, entertainment. Paul does the intro, he does the news segment, and then his brother Doug, who's into like horror movies, he does a movie podcast called Movie Goons. He kind of met his co-host through the same show. So what Doug and Paul have done is cultivated an audience to where if you want to watch Doug's news segment, come for the first 20 minutes. If you want to hear how their week was, first 40 minutes. So like you gotta kind of aim for like the segments, and they built that over 3 years. And when they have a guest on that they just flow with, that the audience knows, so that was my introduction. And then let's say a year later I went on again, and then I told a continuation of like whatever the story at the time was, which at the time it was WrestleMania 39. They brought me back for WrestleMania 40, and then they brought me back for like upcoming Skankfest comedy festival type stuff, which now it was SummerSlam. So I was really like aiming. They booked their stuff a couple months in advance, which I would probably never do, which it's like, I want to know who I'm going. I want to know who I'm talking to. I want to know like who I'm researching. I want to be able to like have an understanding. I was planning on into the summer, go onto this podcast. The next week, which was last night's episode, was going to be another podcast I follow, pretty good like them, and they had a crossover episode where they usually stream on Saturday night. So it's like we usually stream from 7 to 10:30, and then they usually stream from 10 to 2 a.m. So basically they just had like 2 5-hour podcasts. And yeah, like the last week's episode I was on was about 4 hours, and pretty much covered everything and anything that I could think of. But like, as nervous as I was the first time, I still get those jitters of like, do I know what to say if there's ever a lull in the conversation? Do I know what to do if the person's like I don't vibe with? And yeah, I mean, the Sibling Revelries taught me a lot about podcasting, and as well as Corn Fed with Dalton Pruitt with the live chat. So that was the Sibling Revelry Corn Fed crossover. Wow, so
okay. That was like all together like 10 hours. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it was rough.
I can't imagine like sitting there for 10 hours and then like, okay, all right, we're gonna figure out shit to talk about,
Yeah. And then especially in a format where it's just like, I'll wing it, I'll do this, and it's like, I want to be prepared. I want to like write an essay. I want to have the bullet points before I go into this. I want to know like, okay, everything's good to go. But as time went on, it was just like, all right, if I'm not gonna just jump on and record, I'm not gonna record anything. I'm gonna sit there and write for months about, oh, here's what I would like to do for episode 6, then 7 and 8 and 9, and then boom, a banger of an episode 10. Like, you can't do it that way sometimes. So that's what I've learned, is just picking it up on the fly and just going with it. So that's kind of how I've approached this.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I kind of went in. I'm just thinking, okay, all right. I've seen podcasts that go off bullet points. But there's times where like the best podcasts are just like conversations where you're just chilling, and you're like, okay, all right, well, because and this is a great segue, because I was like, okay, all right, we got to talk about wrestling, because that's what Sweeze and Tyler know best, is pro wrestling, and along with sports, that's kind of where we meet in the middle. And believe it or not, You'll get a kick out of this, Sweeze. So like a lot of like sports personalities are like, save for Lee Baker, and I love Lee Baker. Okay, all right. I'll sidetrack a little bit because Lee is he is like a golf fanatic. He is a golf freak, and all of his stories revolve around golf courses. So if you ever sit down and you hear him yap, because he's a yapper, because like he yapped the entire week we were in the car. Every single one of his stories involved either a golf course or when he was golfing. And Kayla and I were talking about it earlier today. We were like, he started noticing the pattern, but I digress. I mean, one of these times I need to have Baker on, and then just let him go for like 3 hours, man.
I was just thinking, like, you're gonna hear so much about golf courses in that 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you'll never need to hear about another golf course for a long time. But
and then if you hear him talk, everything. I mean, all these, like, you know, like, he was around when this golf course was a fucking goat ranch, you know, like. This was a goat ranch. I remember when this was a goat ranch, and you know, but I mean, we love Baker, but anywho, wrestling, you know, I mean, SummerSlam was not too long ago. There's some WWE news that came out the last week or so, with like the PLEs moving to ESPN, which I'm worried about. And I'll let you go first on that. And then they're talking about 2 WrestleManias in 1 year, which is absolutely bonkers. But I'm going to let you go first on that because you know your wrestling. I'll let you go on that.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it was announced Tuesday, I believe, that ESPN would having the rights to PLEs, the pay-per-views from our heyday, the 3-hour events. They changed them over to, instead of being on Peacock in the US, it's now going to be on ESPN. Price range was about $9.99 for the WWE Network 3 years ago before they got rid of that. We moved to Peacock, and now it's $14.99 without ads. I still believe it's well worth the money, and now the price is going to be up to $30, and the pay-per-views are only getting shorter. In the last 8 months, they've only booked about 5 to 6 matches on the main card, and they've moved that way with the 2-night SummerSlam, 2-night WrestleMania. They're talking about 2-night Royal Rumble, 2-night Survivor Series, and it was just like whenever they had that acquisition by TKO, it was like, yeah, this is worrisome. Things are going to change. Dana White's talking about bringing in a UFC on Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday night SmackDown, Saturday night UFC, Sunday night pay-per-view. But it got much worse than that because WWE was delegated to Saturdays to compete with AEW, most believe, in the last calendar year. So it's like, wherever they end up, I believe that wrestling is going to be a commodity now. I mean, I believe it's had another boom. I think that wrestling, since probably WrestleMania 39, probably 2020 with AEW, into about 6 months ago, they've had a resurgence. So it is worrisome, especially when they move, because you lose a lot of that 80s footage. You lose a lot of the AWA, the WCCW stuff. So that was lost in the Peacock. So, like, what else is going to be lost with ESPN was my concern. So,
yeah. And my favorite thing with the WWE Network when it came out was the Vault. It was WCCW. It was the old. Now the cool thing is like you can find WCW as like a YouTube channel. You can actually watch the live streams and the old pay-per-views, which is cool. I just hope that like the WWE would do that for like World Class. I hope they do that for AWA and make those available. And the cool thing is you make a little bit of revenue from Google or whatever. That's what everybody wants to do. I noticed that, like, I think I made this suggestion to Rick Elsey not too long ago. I was like, look, the biggest thing with Squared Circle Pros is and for context, Squared Circle Pro is an independent promotion out of Lubbock. Really great stories, really solid wrestling. El Gringo Loco, that guy is a West Texas treasure. People hate him, and people, when they see him, they want to hate him. but I mean, like I've known Gringo for the longest time. I've known him for almost 20 years now, which is incredible. Almost 20 years, and he hasn't changed a bit. He's still this dastardly masked bastard that goes around and he riles everybody up and pisses everybody off. And I got a story. I'll share a story about him. So like, okay, so the last show, Drunk with Power, I actually was brought on as a play-by-play guy. So check out Squared Circle Pro. I do play-by-play. We might try to work Sweeze into doing color or something. As long as we can convince somebody to give us a third headset. But no, like Gringo was doing a really good promo. He was in the ring, getting everybody all riled up, pissing people off, just making people shit in their pants, just getting them all like just raising Cain. And right when he gets to a really good part, it cuts off, the audio cuts out just like this, just boom. And then he gets mad. He starts looking over at us, and me and Lee XL, who's this big guy who thinks he should be on a L'Oreal commercial. We're not looking at each other. We're like looking over at the audio people. We're like pointing this way. We're like, no. It's these guys that are bad. These guys that are fucking up, not us. And
whatever signals you can do.
Oh yeah, like there's only so much you can do. It's like, no, Gringo, that's not us. And then then like it happens to him again, and he storms up on stage where all of his stuff is at. And he's like, okay, what does this button do? What does this button do? He's like Dee Dee out of like Dexter's Laboratory. He's like pressing buttons. He's just causing mayhem. And that's just, El Gringo Loco. That guy, he is just always, you never know with him. But yeah, Squared Circle Pro, like it really, the biggest thing I think about them, because they have so many good wrestlers, good young wrestlers. And Rick Elsey, he's this bad guy. We'll bring him on soon, because I mean, who better to talk wrestling than Rick Elsey? Honestly, I would say he is the best booker that is not on television. I mean, that is not already working on television. I mean, if we need somebody to clip that, let's clip that, because Rick deserves a shout out, especially, I mean, like he like talking with him is just like dipping into the world of like this of a guy that knows his wrestling. And I mean, he is essentially like if you put Paul Heyman, Jim Cornette, and like Gabe Sapolsky all together, and you put, I mean, and Rick doesn't want to like, Rick wants to be Rick, but his wrestling mind is so good. I could sit there for an hour and listen to him put together a story for me, and he's a really great storyteller. So, and what was funny is if something came up on your end, I'm just saying, I was going to be like, okay, all right, I'll pull an audible, I'll bring Rick on, and I had the coolest like. There's a photographer there at SCP, and she took a really cool picture of Rick like doing like this, and it turned into a really cool thumbnail. I was like, okay, just in case I have to switch gears, I gotta go get Rick. But nah, it was fine. I mean, we need to bring him on and get his insights on stuff. But yeah, I'm meandering. But anywho, yeah, the thing with the network, I mean, I liked it that it moved to Peacock, because the least you could pay is like $5 and you get the commercials. I'm fine with commercials.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm fine with commercials, man. I'm so used to them as far as like the old pay-per-views were concerned, or I mean, now it's just like watching an extended version of Raw or SmackDown. But yeah, wrestling's entering a boom period again, which is great to see after, I don't know. I mean, is it on the level of the Attitude Era? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. We have to wait another 10 years to make that evaluation. But yeah, for the PLEs to be like $30, come on, man. Like, just stop. And then the Saudi Arabia thing, I was like, just keep it to one WrestleMania a year, one Mania, and just for that 1 year, yeah, kick it out to Saudi Arabia. If they're going to pay you $1 billion to have you put on a WrestleMania, by all means, take the money.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody with enough business sense would take that. Like, but I would tell those Saudis, man, I was like, dude, slide over $1 billion, you can have WrestleMania tomorrow, but it can only be once a year. And then, like, if you want to, put one in Wembley. Put one in Wembley Stadium, and I mean, hopefully, like, or somewhere that has like that, like, sometimes the English weather can get a little wonky. So I mean, you got to be prepared for that. But make it World Wrestling Entertainment. You can bounce those big pay-per-views to those all across the world, and I bet you good money people will show up, even if it's for 2 nights. But gosh dang, the price, the ticket prices they're getting out of hand, man. I tell you what.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Yeah, because you've been to enough WrestleManias to where they've hiked up in prices. I mean, how bad has it gotten now?
So I went to the last one that was in Dallas 4 years ago. I think it was 38 or so. Yeah, roughly. It was with Roman and Brock. So that was my second one in Dallas. The first time I was up in the nosebleeds, and I paid about $115, and we watched the screen. With fees, you're looking at $275 for 2 people. And the next one I went to, I was on the ground at the 35-yard line when the ring was at the 50, and I paid $300 a night. So $115 to $300 per show. I priced it in Las Vegas the last 2 years, and those same seats would go for $1,500 to $1,800.
Jesus.
So 3 to 5 times what I paid every 2 years.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous, man. It's
and
not
like,
so
even
bad, but people pay for it. People are dumb enough to pay for it.
The Amarillo, they came to the Civic Center, and you used to get free tickets on the radio or free tickets at the United Super. You could go and spend $20 for $40 seats at the venue. But this time, the United Supermarket seats that were $15 to $20 were $75 at your local United, and then you go to the venue and it's $120 the same. So yeah, those have almost gone up about 100%, like from about $15 to $140. So.
Oh man, is AEW any better?
The products for pay-per-views, I will say their pay-per-views go about 6 hours long, and I would say they don't have the intuitiveness, the flow. WWE likes to tell stories, and like a ref bump or a dusty finish, or it keeps it in mind of like, okay, we're gonna have this little filler match, then we're gonna have this big 40-minute match, then we're gonna have a little backstage promo. With AEW, especially on the TV weekly, it's just boom, 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 throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. WWE is take it back, let's do a 20-minute promo, let's set up the main, let's do another promo, let's get that match messed up. And then AEW pay-per-views, they let these people go out there and have 40-minute acrobatic matches. Like, it's not my cup of tea. It is some of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen, but also it feels like I'm watching Mortal Kombat, so it's not everyone's cup of tea. But when it hits, it hits. Some of the best moments of the decade are probably AEW, mostly because like Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, and I rattle those names off, and you might only know Daniel Bryan from WWE. Like, some would consider Ricochet, Will Ospreay, all these high flyers, the Young Bucks, they would go to a show to see it. But I went to a show, and for a live AEW Dynamite taping from 7 to 9 on TV, Doors opened at 3:30. They started filming Ring of Honor at 4 o'clock. They started filming the Saturday at 5 o'clock. They did a couple promos to everyone getting your seats intermission. Then they started the live show, and then they had 4 hours after that.
Oh my gosh.
For about $100. I mean, I got my money's worth. Yeah, like it was great. I was in Arkansas, so a little bit about, it was nice to see Arkansas. About a 7,000 seat arena that had about 2,500 in it. Okay. So very roomy. Yeah. But it reminded me of a WWA warehouse type of arena match.
Okay, so like, we got stories about WWA. Oh man, we got time. We could probably talk some WWA warehouse. So WWA, the West Texas Wrestling Association, they ran, oh my gosh, probably from about 2006 all the way to about 2009. The really good stuff, the really, really good stuff, like that I could tell people about is probably about maybe late 2007 till the closing in 2009. Well, when it closed, it was Amarillo Elite Wrestling because Jeremy Willits purchased that product from Tony Estep. And I love Pops. I love Pops. Yeah. Pops was like the best referee too. He got it. And it was really that was a very special place. I mean, you got to see for like $10 $10 you got to go see like Delirious and Eric Cannon, Raven, Jerry Lynn every other month. Like I love
AR Fox was there a while. Yeah. Lots of highlights. Yeah.
Andy Fox. Oh my gosh, he was so good, dude. Awesome Andy. Mm-hmm. Awesome Andy. Yeah, AR Fox. I'm sorry. Like I was like, I knew him as like I knew him as like Awesome Andy, and then also like by his real name. But I was like, and then AR
Rob Risen. Remember Rob Risen
was there?
Yeah, I'm dropping AEW mid-card wrestlers.
Yeah, Rob
It's so great to watch them now. Yeah. Because it has been 20 years, and we would have seen Delirious. I did chop it up with Jerry Lynn. Like, Terry Funk was, at a lot of these, like, things that a lot of the Mutual Amarillo fans would go to. And 2006 to 2009, you're talking about like it was a danger to bring your car and park at the parking lot because a wrestler may end up over it, like it was chaos. It was like old school ECW arena days. It was Attitude Era in your face. It was. Yeah.
So like a really good story is about Violent V. So Violent V, who's not for the uninitiated, Violent V is this crazy guy. And he has he has almost like the Sandman tattoo with the barbed wire around his arm. And I got to know V, and V's just a goof. He's just a goofball, but he's a lovable goofball. And V once went up to Rick, and he was like, "Hey Rick," because he had like this little baby voice. He was like, "Hey Rick, so like me and Spam have a match idea. Like we want to do like a spot where like we want to do a hardcore match." But we want to do a hardcore match where we hook up battery cables up to our nipples. And like, oh my gosh, like I talked to Han, and he said he would be fucking awesome. Like, and Rick would be like,
he talked to one of the fans. One of the fans said it would be fucking great.
And Rick has to be like, V, like you're gonna get yourself killed if you do that.
But man, Oh, did you ever end up hearing about what happened to Spam?
No, but I mean, so my mom actually saw his mom not too long ago.
Oh,
and said he was doing okay. He was okay, but I mean, what happened to him was that sucked. But anywho, like, fill us all in.
Yeah, and that's where it's just like these people. It does go back 20 years, and like. Things that tie everybody to that Nat Ballroom, that WWA warehouse. I mean, sometimes the WrestlePlex was popping as a fan. Like, there were certain aspects of you could find what you're looking for. The WWA was the home. The WWA was like I tell stories about this, and I'll continue to tell stories about what Rick Elsey did for all the Monday Night Massacres, how there was a flaming table and Mosh Pit Mike falls into my lap type things. Like, and then like you got the other guy's family next to us, and it's just like, whoa, that's actually his mom, wife, and kids, and they're just watching the guy get on fire here. It's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh, that like really kick-started me back into the wrestling of like, I want to do this. I want to write wrestling. And it was all due to that. It was all to the chaos of the warehouse, you know?
Yeah, their warehouse was special, man. Like, you had to be there. And I think according to Raven, maybe someday, like, I'll ask him, but like he like, I think if Rick says it just right, Raven was like, yeah, this is the closest to the ECW arena that there is. It was the closest.
Yeah.
It had its own underbelly. Like, it was, oh my gosh. Like, I remember, the first time I went to WWA, it was Necro Butcher. And there's stories about Necro Butcher trying to do wrestling here, and it flopped. It fell on its face. But no, like, the first time I went to a WWA show, it was him versus Violent V. Like, well, when he was Superstar V. I love Superstar V because, like, V would go out and he would get so much heat. He was with Pops, and V would be like, you know, I'm the best. You know, he just like it got his Mike Tyson voice. And I remember one of the fans, like, right next to me, and he was like, "No, you're the worst." You know?
Yeah. The characters at the warehouse, they were some characters within itself. You know, sometimes on the inside it looked like a gutted out haunted house, and I just feel like some of those people in the crowd were just leftovers from Halloween season. They just stuck around for the wrestling show.
Yeah, because you had the hillbillies, and I knew I knew Dennis and I knew Chad, and but you got into Hans, and Hans looked like freaking Sloth from the Goonies, dude.
He did, and he was he was a security guard in my college.
Oh my gosh.
He would always tell everybody, "You stay out of trouble. You know there's wrestling on Saturday nights that you guys could be getting into."
So, like, we did the Maverick Pro Wrestling show one time, and they somehow got me as like a ring announcer, and I recognized Hans. Like, Hans sat in the front, and I was like, "Hey, Hans, how's it going?" I was shaking hands with everybody, and he's like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And I'm like, I'm Tyler. I used to go sit in the shows with you. He didn't even recognize who I was, man. But during like Renegade Outlaw Wrestling shows, like Rick and I would sit together, and like Hans was to go sit with the hillbillies, and I'd be like, "Hey, you guys! Hey, you guys!" And he didn't know. But
He's perfect for it.
He came up to Rick one time, and it was when the warehouse, the warehouse was shut down, and he's like, "Rick, I want to let you know, if you need me to, I'm gonna burn down that motherfucking WrestlePlex."
Burn it down. It just makes me think of like how crazy, like, how do you go from like, oh man, that to I'm gonna go commit arson for you because that's what I believe in.
Well, it was funny because like we had a little bit of a run in with Cody Jones. Cody and I have since gotten along. And it was so funny because you know, I think it was because then like it was crazy because like Cody comes like it was during like a deal, and I was just being an asshole, dude. Like, I was an asshole fan. Like, I was seriously an asshole fan. And I remember like the hillbillies would be like, "Cody sucks," and I was like, "Big fat dick." Like, and Cody goes to the back, and then we kept on doing it. And he comes back out, he grabs a mic, and he's like, "Fuck you!" And then he comes down, and he wants to throw down with us during the middle of the show. And what was so funny is like he has a stare down with us, and what's crazy is like Dennis. Because it used to have like the little ropes, like like divided the Dennis plowed through it, and oh man, it was a hell of a confrontation, and I think they shut down the show, like they closed it a little early, just because of that, like that commotion. And Hans was like, you know, fuck top of Texas. We're gonna go see Rick at the We're gonna go see Rick at the warehouse, and we never turned back. We never went.
No.
We never went back to the WrestlePlex. I went back to the WrestlePlex to go train with Rex because at the time there was nothing else.
Nothing.
But I mean, you know, in some alternate universe out there, like I probably would have been 15 years into wrestling. I probably wouldn't have been this bitter, angry guy that. You know, I'd probably be like all steroided out of my mind or whatever, juiced to shit. And then I would be like, you know, but I would have probably been a weekend warrior at the WrestlePlex, maybe traveled around a little bit. But yeah, that's not. I mean, I did that for about 3 months, and I mean, I remember just taking like a handful of Advil just to get out of bed.
Yeah,
So what
it's
these
good
guys
for like
do is
a
respectable.
semester at college. Hey, I'm out on my own. Oh man, let's go to the wrestling show. But once you start living that a decade in and you're like, oh, my neck hurts and I can't really function in life. I'm 30 years old. Like,
I tell people that wrestling took like 20 years off my life, dude.
I believe it. Definitely. Based on how those rings were set up and like wherever they would do a show, like, man, you went to the breast cancer awareness in a garage. Remember that was, we were like this close to the ring and it's like, oh, there's barbed wire right there. Yeah. I hope nobody, and then that moment, you know, it's like, we're in a garage with these people. Let's get out.
I remember that. And gosh, I mean, poor Brian Rage. I mean, Brian's doing really good. He's one of the trainers at Lubbock Wrestling 101. Great guy, really fantastic guy. But I remember he got he had a little bit of a mishap and had to go to the hospital, and that was rough. But you know, for the longest time, I had that shirt. That was like the barbed wire versus breast cancer show. It was in a garage, and then the rest of it was it was in this one place. I can't remember. It was on the east side of town. Mm-hmm. And
wasn't there a Thai place in the front?
There was a Thai place in the. It was a Vietnamese food place. And it was so like good. I love to go get
Thai, and then like you'd be eating Thai at the wrestling show, and you're like, it's good.
It was so good, and then they turned it to like the zombies or whatever, and it was never the same. But crap, I have to remember what the name of the place was. It wasn't like the vault room or anything. It was like the rec room. That's what it was called.
The rec room.
The rec room.
That was the last show I went to in Amarillo, and it ended due to bar fight. Yeah. Violent V, our favorite, you know, chunking bottles into the Rumble.
Oh my God. So like, and V was drunk during that time. Like, V was like he was hitting the booze pretty hard because they got a bar there. They had a bar. They were serving beer, and they're not gonna say no to a wrestler.
Amazing Thai food, some beer, some wrestling. It sounds like a best fucking night of your life.
It is, and like V is sitting there in the audience. He is like he's sitting there drinking, and just V gets stupid when he gets drunk. Mm-hmm. And I say this out of love because V is a character. I think of V as a friend, but he gets a little unruly when he drinks. But I remember I remember he looked over at me and he was kind of glazed over. He's like, "Hey, Tiger Liger." He would always call me like Tyler Liger, and he'd look over. He'd be like, "Tiger Liger, hey, look at this." And he'd throw a beer bottle into the ring, and it actually, I think it hit like Hudson Crawley in the head. Yeah. That, man, it was bad. But I remember, like during college, like they had metal concerts out there all the time. So I remember just standing out there in the middle, like and just watching like death metal. You know,
there was some like Tech Nine Juggalo-esque rap that would come through. It'd be like, we're for Albuquerque, and then it's like twisted, and it's just like, this isn't my scene, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. There was another place like off of South Washington. I don't think it's around anymore, but it was called the Sorority Room, and that was a wrestling place for a while too. Like they had the ring in the back, and then they did a mini gathering is what they did. They did like an Amarillo mini gathering. to prep
Yeah.
for the gathering or whatever. And most of the wrestlers are all into ICP. And I mean, I'm okay with the music. It's just not my cup of tea, but I'll enjoy the music. And Juggalos are really, really cool people.
Yeah.
Like they did wrestling out back, so it looked like yard tarding, and then in the building they had like Juggalo-esque bands go play inside the building, which was actually really cool. But I have a little bit of history with that building, so like it was called the Sorority Room at the time, and it was like a club. A lot of riffraff that would go in there, and Rex, V, and the Benitez brothers, which unfortunately they're both in prison now.
Free them.
Yeah, and then so we go, and we have a good time. We have a fun time, and then Cody and Star were with us, and I mean, and by then like Cody and Star, we all get along with them, and I still get along with Cody and Star to this day. But we go and it's about 2 a.m. They all chase us all out. But Star is like, dude, let's check this out. She throws down the beer bottle and smashes, and basically she starts a fight because somebody thought like they threw a bottle at one of them. So there's these two big masses of people that wanted to throw down just because Star threw down a bottle of beer. She was like, dude, check this out. Boom! And it just like, and then it just evolves and it goes outside. And these people are like throwing down, man. They're about to throw down. And there's like fists flying. Like this one guy gets, he has a convertible. He gets ripped out of the car and thrown out of the ground. And then, what she does is she's sly. She's a very smart girl. Somebody like abandons one of their hats, and she's like, yoink. She's like, looks like I got a free cap, and she puts on a Chicago White Sox hat. So I was like, that was our night. And then I think afterwards, like we were like, I wasn't really drinking a whole lot, but the rest of us wanted to go to McDonald's. And I think I don't remember if it was like before Rex had to go to Dragon Gate. And good old Rex Reed. I'll have him on the show here pretty soon. That'll be a blast because he's got a lot of great stories. We were in the McDonald's line, and it's me and Rex is riding shotgun. I think V was with us along with Benny, and we were along that. And we're ordering our food, and these girls are just making commotion. It's 2 a.m. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's hungry. Everybody wants McDonald's because the McDonald's is open. And they're sitting in and we're sitting there, and we're shouting. We're catcalling the girls, and the girls are like, they're yelling back at us. And then there's these guys behind us that are starting to yell at us. And this one, like somebody runs their mouth, and Rex doesn't take that shit laying down. So he's like, fuck you. And the other guy's like, fuck you. And then Rex is like, oh man, fuck you. And he gets out of the car, he slams the door. And I remember this. And Rex might kind of confirm this, but there's two guys that step out, and they're wearing the same identical outfits. They're like wearing a blue shirt and like a pair of shorts, and Rex goes up and he slugs one of them in the face. Like,
what if they were a boy band? Why were they dressed the same?
Yeah, what is going on here? He knocks one of them out. Like one of them's out cold, and then Rex and V, like not Rex and V, but Rex is like starting to throw down with other people.
Just talk about bad luck. Like you pick the one car with 4 wrestlers, and you're just like, Rex is the one that gets out of the car, and you have a problem with. Like, no, that's not a good idea.
And so like a fight goes down, and I pulled up to go pay for the food, and it's like $20 worth of food. It's a lot of food.
Yeah.
But V and Benny are like, up here we go, and they get out of the car and they start throwing down with other people. too. And then they started like, it was starting to be like Sharks versus Jets, man. They started bringing in all these people, and you know, like Rex like staggers into the car, like he's one of the last people in, and Benny and B fly into the back seat, and Benny's like, dude, we need to go. It's like, we need to go. So we left our food, $20 of food.
Oh no, this isn't when, I was like, this is probably when McDoubles and McChickens were like less than $2.
Yeah, they were like a
so
buck.
much food.
That's so much food, and we left. I was so pissed because I was hungry. I had a few drinks in me, and I was hungry, and we left $20 fucking dollars at McDonald's, probably about $40 at McDonald's at the restaurant. I bet you they were fucking pissed. And I remember, oh God, Rex, like in that Dragon Gate show, if you get that pay-per-view, I think it might still be on DVD these days. I don't know. But Rex looks like he'd been through 2 world wars and a Great Depression. And I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in ECW Arena. And I'm surrounded by all these Philly wrestling fans. And they were like, dude, that guy looks so badass. He looks like a deathmatch wrestler. Who is he? And I'm like, yeah, that's Rex Reed. So they started cheering for him. Mm-hmm. And because like Rex comes out, and they're like, who are you? Who are you? And he was tagging. Guess who he tagged with on that show? Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, that's what I figured. I knew it was somebody I knew. Yeah.
Ciampa. So Rex is forever linked to Tommaso, and Tommaso is originally from Boston. So. But yeah, like they go out and they're like, you know, who are you? Who are you? And then I was like, dude, this is Rex Reed. He's a really good wrestler out of Texas. So they start chanting for Rex. So that's probably one of the highlights of his career was he got cheered. He got cheered in ECW Arena.
I would say so. That would probably be bucket list stuff. Yeah. Going from Amarillo Warehouse to there, for sure.
To actually being at the ECW Arena, and I actually got to meet Gabe Sapolsky, really cool guy. He was running around like a madman before Dragon Gate. It was so funny because the Philadelphia fans didn't care for BB Hulk, so and I was the only one that was into him. So like when he goes out to the outside, like he's beating the crap out of this guy, he goes to the outside, and he's trying to get people to get hyped up. And because he's trying to work a traditional spot show, and he was the Dragon Gate USA champion at the time. These Philly fans are just sitting on their hands, and I go up. I'm like, yeah, like I go up and I slap hands with him, and but the finish to that match was rough. But I don't fault BB Hulk for that. But oh my gosh, yeah. The trip to Philadelphia and back, because we took it by car. We rented a car.
Yeah, because I figure that's at least 20 hours, right?
24. It is a whole day of driving if we went nonstop. And we didn't, and we just took turns driving. And
I couldn't imagine just, like you go Oklahoma City, then you go to Arkansas, then you go to Nashville, Tennessee, then up? Is that how you're going? Or are you in Chicago over?
Okay, so what we did is we went up to... we went from Amarillo to OKC, and then from OKC to Tulsa, and then
there you go.
Tulsa, we went up towards St. Louis, and on our way when we stopped in St. Louis, we were in St. Louis. We stopped at the Budweiser. Took a tour, and then we went to the Gateway Arch. So and then we continued onwards. So we ended up in Louisville. Because they wanted to go catch a Ring of Honor show, but the problem was we couldn't find the arena there.
Right, it's like in a shopping center or a old warehouse type thing.
Yeah,
I think it's in like off a neighborhood too, because I was looking for it too before.
Oh my gosh, it's like, where is this thing? And we were driving around, so we gave up. We go to either a Rallies or a Checkers, one of the two. So we get some food, and then we continue on. And Rex gets lost because he's driving. He gets lost in West Virginia, and I somehow get us back on the interstate. And I'm driving. I'm driving up and down these aren't hills. These are mountains.
Mountains.
These are mountains in West Virginia. There's a reason why the mascot is called the Mountaineer. And
There's some odd people in them mountains too.
yeah, and I'm glad that we didn't stop. But we made it through like Charleston, and we got to, because they wanted to go to Gettysburg, because they were into ghost hunting at the time, and Rex was like, man, we want to go see some ghosts. I was like, okay. So we went up towards like Gettysburg, and then from Gettysburg we went over to Philadelphia. We went up and picked up Chad Thomas, and I got stories about Chad Thomas. Love Chad. I just got really funny stories about him. And but we go to Philadelphia, but Rex and V go into the airport, and they stick me with the damn car, and I'm having to drive around the airport, until they come back out with Chad. And then because Chad got the hotel room, and then Chad gets out and he's like, hey man, like, hey, how far is New York from here? And it's like, it's about 2 hours. He's like, let's go to New York. So we end up piling back in the car after driving for 24 hours. It's like, well, what's another 2 hours on the road, right? We go to New York, and we just stop at Times Square. It's like $30 to go park, and the locals are giving you directions, and you're not from there, and you're just like you're wandering around lost, and then we stumble into Times Square. We took the subway. We went over to Central Park. I mean, we were just, being dummies. But what stuck out to me the most was there was a lady, and I don't know what was going on with her. Like, she had an I Love New York shirt. She had it like kind of tied, and she had these like really short shorts, and she has her clothes in a cooler, and she's dragging this around Times Square. And and Chad like cat calls her, and and just they're chirping back and forth. And then we go up to like NYPD, and we're like, hey, what are you gonna do about this lady out here? And she's like, they're like, dude, she ain't hurt you. Just leave her alone. And then Chad gets us lost. Like, he's like we're like, okay, all right, it's time to go. These dudes want to go see the Statue of Liberty. I'm like, guys, the only way you can see the Statue of Liberty,
it's way out there. We can't drive.
You either have to go all the way to Battery Park, and the locals told us, don't go to Battery Park at night. Please don't. And then I was like, okay, the only other place where we could see the Statue of Liberty is from New Jersey. We would have to drive to New Jersey. And but Chad's like, oh, we're going to try to find this. We're going to find this. So he is driving around New York, and I somehow pass out, and then I wake up. He's still driving around New York, and we go to Harlem. We end up in Harlem, and we see like a drug deal going down. Like, we see it's about 5 a.m. and this like guy like reaches out, and he does like this. He does this, like they're doing a drug deal. And so we
Battery Park might have been better, huh?
Yeah,
you ended up in Battery Park times 10.
Yeah. And I mean, I ended up going to New York like a few years later, and I had fun in New York, but and then we finally get out in New York about 5 a.m. I pass out, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up and we're driving into Philadelphia. We're driving into downtown Philly. And we go home, we go to the hotel room, we pass out, and later on we had to be at that show because that was on a Saturday. And I know I'm kind of meandering back and forth. I'm jumping between timelines here, but we get into the ECW arena. It wasn't really that hard to find. It was actually super easy to find. We go in, and they're doing open tryouts for the show, because Gabe is looking to do some pre-show matches. And at the time, we see Cody doing chain wrestling with Akira Tozawa, and
it's so random.
it is so random. And
Cody and Tozawa over there, just
just over there, like they're over there and they're doing chain wrestling, and it was so funny because like, Sapolsky was like, I don't know, like he was just kind of like you could tell he was not having a fun time.
Yeah.
And he was looking at this tag team. He wanted to bring this tag team in, and they did appear on the pre-show. I think they appeared as like plants or something, if I remember correctly. They were in the crowd, kind of stirring up trouble. But then it came to Rex and Chad, and they noticed that everybody was doing chain wrestling. So Rex looks. I mean, this is where Rex has a stroke of genius, and Rex is pretty smart. He can do some dumb shit. And I've seen him pull off some dumb shit, but he is very smart when it comes to wrestling. And Rex looks over at Chad. And he's like, everybody else is doing chain wrestling. We need to do the big moves. So what they did is they did big boots. They hammered on each other. And then Rex is like, hey, man, we're going to make it a 2-minute match. We're going to do all big moves. And I'm going to finish it with like the zombie killer, or he called it the legacy killer at the time, which was basically a power bomb into a leg blower, or into a lung blower, which was it was one of his moves, and believe it or not, it was actually one of Tommaso Ciampa's moves.
I was thinking that's his finisher now.
Yeah. So Rex like goes and he's like, they get done with their match. The Japanese guys are just going crazy. They're like, oh man, they're going crazy for these big moves. And Sapolsky was going to put in this tag team. But like, this was one of the coolest moments, and Rex will tell you this was one of the coolest moments he ever had, along with people chanting his name inside the ECW arena, was Shingo, who he knew from San Antonio. He used to work in San Antonio with Shingo. All these Japanese guys were like, no, we want Rex. Like, they overruled Sapolsky. They were like, no, we want Rex. And they started pointing at Rex and chanting his name. Rex. And Sapolsky's like, okay, I guess we're going to put this guy on the show. And and the reason why Rex didn't keep going back was because it was only $40. He was only going to get paid $40.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that area taking a 90-minute train from New York City to Philly for $40, I mean, that's your travel. You got to really be in love with it. But to go from Amarillo to Philly for $40 is insane. Like, you got a wife and kids and family. Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, and then I think the second time he went, it was actually, I mean, you can find it on YouTube now. I mean, if you go look up Rex Reed, that second match is on there, and he's like on there with like AR Fox. He goes there with Manimal, and Manimal, who has the coolest name, his first name is Bull, like in the male cow, like the male uncastrated cow, and his like stage name was Manimal, but he looked like Captain freaking Caveman, dude. Like, he was like a caveman gimmick, and I was like, dude, if he was just come out and just be like a big burly badass, I would probably buy it, and Gabe would probably put him on the show. But the problem was like, people laughed at the name, like people laughed at Manimal. They were like, that is such a stupid gimmick. Please don't do that. Like, but I mean, that's but he was a name, like he was a name over like in Arizona. He was over in Vegas, in New Mexico a little bit. But yeah, like that's how Rex got on the other show, and that's, I mean, he's immortalized. He's on YouTube.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just kind of a testament. You're talking like pre WWE Development Center era. Like, this is 15 years ago roughly, and then just think, like 5 years later, they were able to like cultivate the Four Horsewomen, the Shield, the Wyatt family, the New Day. All that kind of came from that.
which those could have been like Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. They were on the indies. They rocked the indies. Tyler Black, Seth Rollins became one of the biggest superstars of this generation. And they all came from that era that the Rex Reeds of the world were doing everything they could to get on the show. And, you know, it's admirable. It's the story of the Texas Panhandle. Of every time that I meet somebody that's not familiar with, Amarillo, it's like, well, have you ever heard of like West Texas State Wrestling and how impactful like the Funks were and how all that stuff basically came from Amarillo? And, you know, we did have the whole center kind of under control. And then you have the little spot in New Mexico. Then you have the Arizona Vegas. And it's just like, it's not like that anymore, but it's really fun to tell the stories about it, because we used to be able to just read dirt sheets and, you know, you'd find a story like that. And that's just how many people like Rex Reed probably have that story of getting on a show because of happenstance or, you know, just good work and good, you know.
And just knowing the right people. Right people. That's the biggest thing. And I mean, this is something I've taken away from, like, Diamond Dallas Page said something really cool. Because, I mean, he did a shoot interview, I mean, before he did the whole DDP yoga, was it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know. It's who's willing to speak up for you. And Shingo, if it wasn't for Shingo, Rex wouldn't have gotten on that show. And it was because Shingo and Rex worked together in San Antonio. They knew each other. And it was so funny because after the show, and this is, I mean, Rex will have to confirm it, but Rex was telling Duke Cornell, who's another really good friend of mine, another future guest on the show. And Duke is in his final year of wrestling, which I thought he would wrestle forever. And Rex tells a story where after Shingo gets done with a 40-minute match with Bryan Danielson. I mean, this is like, you know, Bryan Danielson like in between him getting fired and him getting brought back to SmackDown. And having a 40-minute marathon of like these elbow strikes, these MMA moves with Shingo. And Shingo comes back to the back, goes and finds Rex. And he's like, "You like Pancake Man. You scary. You like Pancake Man." And it's because Rex wanted to try out a new finisher, which was called Death from Above. And Rex's, like, that move was essentially a top rope back senton onto an opponent that was on, like, their hands and knees. So it looked like it killed him. And, I mean, it looks like it could kill you, but Rex barely touched it. Pancake. Like, you like Pancake Man. Like, that's scary, you know, because Rex is like this big man flying through the air trying to do this senton to you. And I remember, like, right after that, like, we got the Iowa guys there for a show in Plainview, and the Iowa guys popped for him. And they called, like, they were already like in the Terminator mindset because they were driving through Kansas in the middle of the night, and they see the wind towers, and they're like, "Oh man, it's Skynet." And then Rex comes out, and they're like, "Oh man, he is a cyborg, bro. He's a cyborg." And they all pop for Rex Reed. They all popped for him, and that was the coolest thing, was just Rex having that run that he did. And I really believe it started with one of his matches with El Gringo Loco in Dimmitt, Texas, of all places, at one of the AEW shows. It was, that was I think it was the one either with, like, I think it might have had both Jimmy Jacobs and Too Tough Tony.
I believe so. And if not, it was like a sequential show. But yeah, I remember both of them, I thought.
Yeah. I think it was before, because I think the League of Liger, that was like my little stable when I was starting up, was still baby faces, and we won the tag team titles. I mean, I was kind of the manager, but yeah, it was crazy.
Hey,
crazy.
You made it to the ECW arena, okay?
I was a fan.
15 years later, you made it to the ECW arena, and you were a tag team champion.
Yeah, I guess I was freebirding it, but I remember, like, the ECW arena show, and this is V just being V, and V found the cool, because the ECW arena, if you don't know, it's a sweat box. You are like, you are drenched in sweat by the end of the show. being V, like he sneaks into the show. He doesn't have to pay for a ticket, and he sits underneath the fan. He sits underneath the blower. He has the best seat in the house. And V is like, man, I got the best seat in the house. I'm underneath the fan. So, yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Yeah. No, but yeah, really, really fun wrestling stories. That's a lot of Tyler Liger lore.
Yeah,
that's a lore. Yeah.
I think it crosses with me as far as like we both went to college in Amarillo. I went off for a decade and did my thing. Then I've been back into it, and it's like I never found anything like we had back then. And I mean, I don't think I'm going to for as long as I look, as far as I scour the internet. But wrestling is in a boom period, I think. So I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. So
it is, and I mean, there's so much wrestling out there now. I mean, not just because of like, now there's like the concept of iPay-per-views. There's YouTube now. I mean, Maple Leaf Wrestling, who just had like Matt Cardona on.
Yeah, and Memphis League Wrestling, they are on YouTube. A lot of the MLW was putting on some great shows in the last year. Like, they'd have like 50-man battle royals. Just,
oh my gosh.
The things that you wouldn't even think of, like Juggalo Championship Wrestling. They put on a good show sometimes, and GCW is feuding with JCW, and they're going to have this big blow off at the Gathering next week, so everybody's excited for that. Juggalos and juggalettes are going wild.
Oh, and I mean, the Gathering is really neat. So, and we need to bring Duke on to tell this story, because they go to the Gathering, and it's the 1 year where they have Tila Tequila.
Yeah,
and
the greatest.
Like the Juggalos fucking hated her. They hated her because she was
it's so hard fake. To get on.
I mean,
yeah,
she was a stripper that turned into like a reality TV star.
You would think Juggalos would love her, but the fact that they didn't shows that how bad Tila Tequila is.
It was, like... and Tila goes on stage, and here's the deal: is she started talking shit to the Juggalos. She started talking shit to them.
Family. That's what happened.
Yeah,
she fucked around and found out.
And the family was like, no, you ain't part of our fam. And then she, then she tries to get them back, and she tries to flash them and whatever, because she's pretty trashy. She's into this new age shit, and it's fucking weird. But like just poor Tila Tequila, she fell off a cliff hard. But then I think, what was it? Somebody threw a beer can. And it just like boom, like a beer bottle, and it bam, like it busted her open and everything. And Duke Cornell was there. Duke Cornell was in the camp at the time, and Chris Hero was in that concert. Chris Hero is bolting back to the camp, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you should have seen what happened to Tila Tequila. Holy shit!" Like, he was just going crazy.
It's the Chris Hero meme.
It's the Chris Hero meme.
Oh no! It's like CM Punk just choked out Jungle Boy, and Chris Hero's like, "What have you done?" And then it messed up CM Punk's entire AEW run. But shout out Chris Hero.
Yeah, shout out Chris Hero, Cassius Ono, and he runs back, and Duke could tell that story really well with the whole Tila Tequila incident, and it is so hilarious. But dude, don't mess with the Juggalos, man. I mean, but here's the thing, like I hate that like the FBI or whatever government agency labels them as a dangerous gang. That's far from the truth, because they are some of the nicest people you'll meet.
I would rather have them on my side. Yeah,
they're kind of goofy looking. They are kind of weird, But
Doesn't take a lot to get on their good side. All you got to do is just say shout out to the juggalos and juggalettes.
Yeah. Whoop,
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 whoop.
Like, whoop, whoop. But here's the, like, I caught this on a YouTube channel because, like, this YouTuber actually went and checked out the gathering and got to see ICP. And ICP comes off as really chill. That's why I have no issues with, like, juggalos and juggalettes. I mean, hell yeah, Hatchet Man, but I'll never get it put on my body. But the cool thing was, he was like, you're cool with us, just don't mess with kids.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest lines was, is this your first time being here? Like, you know, this one guy was being interviewed by this YouTuber. It's like, hey, is this your first time here? And the YouTuber's like, yeah. And he's like, welcome home. Which is really cool. So one of these days we'll have to go crash the gathering someday. Document
I feel like this would have been my year. Comedy is big into it. And like I said, Louis J. Gomez, Zach Amico, Tim Butterly, and Big J. Okerson are a feature at the gathering. So my worlds are just crossing over, and I'm just going to sit on X and Instagram and say shout out to the Juggalos until I can't anymore, because I've met some incredible people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, it is really interesting when it comes to the Juggalos and how extensive it is in the wrestling world. Like you know, JCW for the gathering books just about everybody that you can think of. I mean, like, Scott Hall was on this show. Like, Scott Steiner was at the gathering.
The man of 1,000 gimmicks. That's what Mush Pit Mike's doing now.
What's Mosh Pit Mike doing now?
He's the man of 1,000 gimmicks, and every show he comes out as a different. Like, he was a Hugh Hefner flip flop wearing. Like, he was utilizing the parts of his attire and his gimmick, and then the next week he was something completely different, and then he was the next song. So he's the man of 1,000 gimmicks, and he's one of their higher tiered wrestlers now on JCW.
Wow.
Yep.
He never had high ambitions. He didn't want to go to, like, WWE or TNA or A&W. He just wanted to go wrestle at JCW, and I'm so happy that he's able to achieve that dream, man. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's really great to watch. You should check it out sometime.
Yeah.
JCW.
I remember,
folks, Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, man. And what's funny with Mosh is, I mean, he's the guy that shows up in orange.
Yeah.
I remember classic Mosh, and Mosh would actually, like, when he started going, he started going to the Arizona shows, and Vito, Big Vito, like the guy that wore the dress in WWE, poor Vito,
wrestled him up. Yeah. No, that's Saturn. My bad.
Wrestled him up, and Vito was running. I think he was running Future Stars of Wrestling over in Arizona.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
And Vito wanted you to dress nice. Like, he wanted you in a suit and tie. So when SCP was starting out, Mike would, I mean, he came over from Albuquerque. So Mike would show up with Ray Basuda, who was a guy that I was coming up with. I mean, it's so funny because, like, in the alternate universe, it would have been me, Ray Basuda, Kyle Hawk, and then you would add a Josh Jackson and, like, Big Johnny, or I don't know. He called himself, like, Johnny Steele or something, which is kind of dumb, but yeah. Like, we would
Kyle
all
Hawk
team up
was
together.
synonymous, though, in Oklahoma. He went on to have a great career, like what he was doing. So, like, if you were coming up with those guys, like, that's a pretty solid. That's a Shelton Benjamin, John Cena, Randy Orton class. If I'm
Yeah. And who was that was getting a name over in Oklahoma?
Kyle Hawk.
Kyle Hawk. Wow.
For sure. Yes.
Oh my God.
He's from New Mexico. I'm almost positive. And then they had, so this was 2016, 17, 18. I would go to shows in Oklahoma. I went to a show at the Joe Exotic Tiger King.
Okay.
I went to the zoo and they had a wrestling show, and I'm almost positive Kyle Hawk was there, and he had a gimmick where, he did that.
Oh yeah,
and
like
then
Chris
they had
Youngblood. Yeah.
yeah, and he had all these nice shirts. They had a 6'4" female Indian girl. She was native, so Kyle Hawk was shorter. Then there was a taller female, so she would wrestle. Kyle Hawk would help her cheat. Then Kyle Hawk would be fighting a cruiserweight. Then she'd powerbomb when the ref's not looking. It was really intense. I really liked what I got into in Oklahoma as far as the wrestling goes. But yeah, you said Kyle Hawk, and that just like, oh man, okay. I'm going to do some research.
Yeah, Kyle Hawk, I mean, Kyle Hawk got into a little trouble, so that's why he doesn't wrestle in Texas very often, at least in West Texas.
Yeah.
And, but I always liked Kyle Hawk. I thought he was cool. The one that always got me, the guy that had a ton of potential was Jerry One.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry One was on a lot of shows. Rick was going to put him up against Jerry Lynn. And they were like, Rick was actually teasing about turning Jerry Lynn heel and have him be a part of the League of Liger. And the original plan was, we had all these guys like joining the League of Liger. We had like, do you remember Abominus?
Yeah, I do.
Big Andy joined the League of Liger. And there was also, like, this was when we turned heel. So, like, we had, like, Duke Cornell. At the time, Derek Cornell. Then we had, like, Bo Brian. At the time, Brian got, but now he's Bo got. And then Jason Strife, the late Jason Strife, who passed away a few years back, R.I.P. And then Rex. Rex was a member of the League of Liger. And we were actually going to have Jerry on the show, and then Jerry was going to turn and join the League of Liger. And then the big blow-off match was going to be between Jerry One and Jerry Lynn. And the program was supposed to end with me taking a cradle pile driver from Jerry Lynn, which would have been kind of cool. I would have been, yeah.
Bucket list.
Yeah, bucket list item. And the cool thing is Rick and Jerry still talk. Jerry Lynn and Rick still talk. And Jerry has his things, but he's really, he's doing okay. He's doing good. Can't reveal too much, but he's doing okay. He's an agent there now, and he's doing okay. He's doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, he's helping up the young guys, and I bet you if his body held out, he would still be wrestling. He would still be doing his thing, man. And I love Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn's still one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
He was the only autograph 8x10, take a picture. Then he got to listen to what I liked, what I wanted to tell him. So he was the super nicest professionalist one that came through over there. But yeah, Jerry Lynn, I'm glad to always see him doing good things, because it's just hard, because you go to these shows in Amarillo, it was quarterly. I felt like it would be somebody would come in, or when all the other shows would do it every 2 weeks. It's either it's here now and then gone, and then you don't appreciate it when you have it, and you're just thinking, I'm looking back on okay, was that who I thought it was a decade ago, who I saw 10 years before at the warehouse? I don't know. These gimmicks are meshed together very well, but yeah, I did confirm that was Kyle Hawk, who was in Oklahoma, and he was a tag team with Ray Basura, and then they feuded with Marshall and Ross Von Erich.
Oh my God.
So those grandsons of the Von Erichs, or actually nephews, because it's Kevin's sons. So the Von Erichs were wrestling in Oklahoma the same time as Kyle Hawk and Ray Pazura that you started with, who eventually went to AEW. So you had your end, you had your trajectory. It just would have took 15 years. Yeah. You might have had to break your back in Oklahoma casinos in front of 10 people to do it. But yeah. I believed in the League of Liger.
Yeah. The League of Liger, man. I think what the craziest thing was when I, in getting into the world of wrestling, is, do you remember the women's season of NXT? And they initially had that big tall girl, she was like 7 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
She added me out of the blue on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
she was into me. I was like, huh? Like, who is this? I was like, who is this ISIS? Like, and
She
I
heard
was
about
like,
the league.
yeah, and I was like, do I know you from somewhere? And she was like, yeah, like, you know, we both know Rex. And I was like, okay, cool. And she ended up being like on some she's no longer in wrestling. She kind of fell off a cliff too. But I loved it when I was like, holy shit, she's on NXT. And then she had attitude issues, and that's the thing about wrestling, is you got to play the game. It's not so much what you do in the ring, it's how you conduct yourself outside of it. And it's also who you know and who's willing to speak up for you at the end of the day. That'll get you on shows. And I'm just speaking from a worker's perspective. But yeah, it was insane to think that she was on NXT, and then once she was booted out because WWE found out that, yeah, she did some adult stuff before getting into wrestling, and they got rid of her pretty fast, and then she was never heard from ever again. Like, yeah, but she was on Juggalo Championship Wrestling. She was at the gathering, and she chokeslammed Jerry One.
Yeah.
And see, that's a good run for someone who, I mean, it's not for everybody, and not everybody's going to be a lifer, and it's good to get out knowing it's not right for you because of other reasons, rather than like it all just fell, and then you just keep on trying, and then it all just fell. Because the people that we knew that were still doing it back then, a lot of them have gone and don't do that anymore. So it's like, it's not a sign of the times, it's a sign of the business. The business just eats you, like, it takes you in and then spits you right back out. And, you know, you were able to have all the capacities within you to continue going to college and go off into your career. And who knows, that may be the only thing that some people have is their little Amarillo wrestling career. So
Yeah.
to make it up to that level.
You know, and I was part of that group, and I still, you know, if I saw, like, let's say Homer today, or if I saw, you know, actually when I was at the last show, I saw Lilith Blood, and got to talk to her, and she was like, you know, tell you what, D wishes that he was here, but it was his night to spend with Tempest, and, you know, Tempest Blaze, she will probably be a wrestler one day. Mark my words.
Yeah.
She has a wrestler name. I mean, and she is a big girl, and she, I mean, you know, and she's not like, she's a different cat, but she's got a lot of potential in her. But I mean, in 10 years, we'll probably be like, okay, all right, you know, we're talking about Tempest Blaze in the West Texas wrestling scene, you know, and be like, oh man, she's like Rhonda, she's like Rhonda Singh, and that's a really deep dive right there. Or, I mean, but yeah, I mean, there's potential there because, man, you know, I've always been a big fan of Damian Blood. Always thought he was really good, and I mean, probably even now, like, I don't know, like, I mean, I'll have to bring him on, but like, when he talks wrestling, he has become Jim Cornette, and I might have to call him out on that. I was like, have you become like Jim Cornette? You're just bitter about the business. You know?
Yeah.
And I'll have him answer truth. I mean, I'll have him be honest with me, but
It's hard not to be bitter about like what things, how fast they were going so quick, and then the branding and everything that I thought was falling into place, and then, you know, Amarillo, it's just not a big booming place for Saturday Night Wrestling at the Thai place, I guess.
It's really not. Like, the only company that's still going is Top of Texas. And you know, I called it out about 10 years ago. I was like, you know, if Top of Texas kind of keeps shooting torpedoes into other wrestling businesses, into other wrestling promotions because they want to be the only game in town. And don't get me wrong, like, I have no hard feelings against Alan Kelso. I got to know Jake, and Jake's a wonderful person. Really good guy. I'm always rooting for him to do really well in wrestling. However, now it's a smoldering crater. There's nothing in Amarillo. Like, maybe there might be the Bomb City bar fights, but I mean, that's deathmatch stuff. You like, it's don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Handgun Dan. I love like Greg. I love Piers. I love all those guys. But it's a smoldering crater now, man. I mean, the hot spots are Lubbock. Lubbock's a hot spot with Squirt Circle Pro and Rampage and South Plains Pro Wrestling, Lubbock Wrestling 101. Dallas has kind of gotten a scene together now. I at the last SCP show, I got to talk to Hobo Hank. I got to introduce myself. I got to introduce myself to him. Okay, so
yes, Hobo Hank.
Hobo Hank is a really super duper nice guy. Really nice guy. We got to talk, and I was like, I asked him about how things are going over in New Mexico, and he was like, oh yeah, things are going okay, like. And I mean, like, now there's NWA in New Mexico, and I mean, there's still DWO, Destiny Wrestling Organization. I think they're still around.
They are, yeah. Did you see the Vice Sports covering Hobo Hank?
No.
There's a feature, so like if you search Hobo Hank on YouTube, usually Vice, it'll just be like the top 10. But yeah, they feature Hobo Hank, and he talks about his like daily life, and then he talks about his Weekend Warrior, but it's all DWO, and it's like recent, probably within 3 years. Yeah, so that's cool though.
I got to visit with him a little bit. And I think we got talking about Tommy Dreamer for some odd reason. And he was like, yeah, I saw him the other day. We got talking because he was over in Vegas for Mania. And and then I was like, man, I was just hearing him on the radio the other day, and because of SummerSlam being in New Jersey, and this one of the hosts, he was just like, you do this and I will eat a New Jersey slice of pizza. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And something about pineapple on pizza, and he calls Tommy Dreamer out of the blue about it. You could tell that Tommy was like a little irritated. It's like, what? Who the hell is calling me and asking me about pineapple on pizza? So we got talking about that. And oh my gosh, it was crazy.
But yeah. It's very exciting, though. I knew a little bit about the Lubbock scene. I know that there's nothing really in Oklahoma anymore besides casino shows, and those get about 5 to 10 people, and they charge $25.
Oh my gosh,
it's rough.
Yeah, see, like that's what you got to think about when you do wrestling is you got to make it affordable, and Squirt Circle Pro still charges $10. And I tell people, I was like, dude, go to the shows. They're like $10.
Standing room only. Everybody loves it.
Only at Jake's back room, and you can tell on like the iPay-per-view or the live stream that, oh man, it's standing room only. Now it's about, okay, like how can we get more people to go? How can we capture the Texas Tech kids? Even if we got like a fraction of percent of Texas Tech's population, you get like 100 kids that love pro wrestling, that are into it. You get them into the shows, and you get them hooked, and boom, you got lifelong wrestling fans out of that.
It'd be. I went to college and I found a bunch of things that I normally wouldn't have interacted with. That's what I think that tech could be. Is like, some people may not want to even go out on a Saturday night because they're afraid or they don't have any friends. But going to a wrestling show in Lubbock, that is pretty much the biggest excitement I've had in Lubbock. Aside, it'd be perfect for a college freshman, to just. It'd be easy to get at least 100 people there, in theory. But, like, how do you actually pull it off is the thing. Because they're not listening to radio. They're not on Facebook anymore. Instagram, you'd have to promote, and have someone to figure out how to do it the right way. Because it's not about spam posting.
And that's kind of just like what we went to school for, is like, I don't want to pester and pester and pester about a podcast I'm doing, so I'm going to put it out in increments, and I'm going to have a plan, and it's going to be sequential, and then take it as a wrestling marketing business of just like, how do we get that? That's the goal. Because there is wrestling fans. And what's changed is that 40% of wrestling fans are female now.
Really?
That it's like young female, and like they said that like 30, I think it was like 28% are over 25. Like almost a quarter of wrestling fans are over 25, and then women are half, or almost, they're 40%. So like the game has changed.
It has. It has.
But with Squared Circle Pro, I think you could walk in there and it's exactly like you walk into like a 2005 wrestling indie show.
Yeah.
And it's that vibe, and that's something you can't just explain to people. That going to one of those shows is an experience. Everything seems to go through. It's all planned as far as how a perfect wrestling show should be established, like what the product you're getting, where it is. You've captivated the entire room of Jake's back room in Lubbock. Like, people know about that in Lubbock, so it seems like it would be a given, you know?
Yeah, and Jake's loves having Squared Circle Pro. I mean, there was a time where, like, Jake's was kind of like, do we really want wrestling? But no.
Compared to their other shows, like, wrestling would be too bigger, I would think, yeah. Because I've never seen standing room concerts.
Right. So
The Cottonmouth Kings. I saw the Cottonmouth Kings one time.
oh my gosh. Cottonmouth
Yeah.
Kings, man. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a band from a long time ago. Holy buckets.
I think it was like Cottonmouth Kings, Dizzy Wright, and some Mexican girl who went like viral on TikTok. She's like, da 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 da. Like, I wish I remembered her name. But yeah, it was a moment in time in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, that's insane. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, but Jake's loves having SCP there, and now like they have dates like already for next year.
That's
they have
awesome.
this locked down. And
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then you know, it's probably one of the. I mean, I went, and I mean, other than like maybe some little audio issues or what have you, the biggest thing with Squared Circle Pro is just it's just the discoverability. And
Yep.
I mean, I remember after the show, I went over to Rick's and I was like, "Hey, here's some feedback, man. Here's how maybe it can help you. Like live stream the shows on YouTube.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Live stream the shows on YouTube. You know, I mean, sometimes just like slapping a poster up, like at tech, just knowing somebody at tech that could slap up some posters.
Yeah, get a street team. Just one afternoon, you'd have to do it. That'd be it. Like, hit them on like a Wednesday before the show, before everybody gets their weekend plans tied on Thursday. I mean, there's a plan of attack, and with Rick behind it all, and you know El Gringo, it's like, how could you go wrong and everything? So, I'm definitely gonna do my best to make an effort to go there. I haven't been to a Squared Circle Pro since 2012. That was the last show I went to. So
That's probably one of the first years because I was in the back probably about 2011 for the first show, and to see it blossom. I mean, it hasn't been the same since COVID, and Rick will tell you that, but I still think it's a quality show. Really good wrestling. I mean, a lot of young guys. A lot of super young guys like Draven Reeves out of Amarillo. Dude, that kid can go. He's a little hard on himself, but really, really talented. There was also like Cisco Kid. There's a few others that could easily get on the show. I mean, Nolan Phillips is still around. You know, there's still. I mean, La Migra is La Migra. They're like the Freebirds, man. They are like the Freebirds. It's just plug and play. Phoenix, I think over the last several years, Phoenix has blossomed from a kind of a guy I wasn't really high on when I first met or first started to watch on shows, just admittedly. To like, I'm like, dude, he's probably one of like their best guys.
Yeah, just thinking like I'm always thinking of like my favorite moments, and then I'm thinking like who else was in the ring, and it was Phoenix. It was like, okay, well, I got that moment because of Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's just what I was going for.
Yeah, Phoenix. I mean, you know, his work has gotten better. His promo skills have gotten better. The guy is. I mean, I went from saying what a waste of space to my gosh, this show wouldn't be as good as it is without him. He is so integral, so vital to the show as the babyface because people like the guy. I mean, if he can, he really leans on, you know, the military background, being a Marine, and you know, being this mentor, this like kind of this fatherly character. It helps that he's a family man. But yeah, I mean, he has become probably one of the best people at Squared Circle Pro. Another guy that's so I would say so underrated is JC Bravo. JC Bravo. So I mean, that guy is so good. There's JC. There's a lot of really young up-and-coming guys in there. That locker room, the culture there is really good. You know, a lot of good guys in that locker room.
So it seems like I remember JC Bravo, Phoenix. I've followed Squared Circle Pro. I actually cleaned my closet and found my new Squared Circle Pro shirt that I've never worn. It's brand new, and it came in the packaging and it had Gringo's name on it from when he used to ship those out himself. So I'm like, this is a moment in time. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna relish in this.
So like
Squirrel.
So in Jake's, like they hung up T-shirts. Finally, after all those years, they hung up a Squared Circle Pro T-shirt.
Man, yeah, because it's it's probably the longest running show that's been at Jake's, honestly.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, we're about at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
How long can you hang?
Unfiltered. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the beanbag. I'm comfy. It's all good.
I'm surprised.
chilling.
I'm surprised Sumo hasn't come in and interrupted just yet.
Oh, there's at least 2 barriers that he has to get through to get here. So it's like kitty door, doggy door, and my bedroom door.
Oh my God.
And I've learned really fast, like a couple hours is his limit, but like now my mom and Sweeze watching him, so like he's out there with the other 2 dogs, so he's having a great time. And you know, these 4-hour podcasts, I was sitting on one, it was like, it went 5 hours and 40 minutes, and I'm just thinking like, what else could you gotten done in 5 hours and 40 minutes? Do you remember everything you talked about in 5 hours and 40 minutes? And then thinking like, people do this more than once. they stream, they podcast, and then, you know, like, I lost my voice after podcasting, and then that's kind of what it was like. It was just like, I'd never talked this much. I've worked from home since 2020, and basically, like, this is the most talking I've done. I didn't even think, like, man, 2 hours just flies by, and you're sitting there like, well, we have a lot of history of wrestling to talk about, Tyler.
A lot of wrestling to get caught up on.
There's so much lower.
Yeah.
I knew I needed the beanbag. This is probably not my best angle, but you know.
Yeah. It's unfiltered, baby.
If the world could see what's on the other side of my computer screen where it's just chaos in my life, it's like unfiltered.
See, what the cool thing is with my place is, I mean, I have an office now.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice little backdrop. It'll probably get customized with time. But I think another inspiration for me and what we want to do probably in the future, since you're probably in the internet culture probably about as much, if not maybe more than I am.
I'm obsessively online. That's what I call it. Obsessively online. Terminally online. There you go.
And so I love talking about like locales and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Just like, what's the latest with Darkside Phil? Well, Darkside Phil probably is talking smack about Low Tier God, and now they're beefing on X, and they want to play Street Fighter with each other, but Low Tier God isn't having it. He's like, dude, you know, pay my $5,000 child support bill, and I'll play you a set in Street Fighter 6 or something. and
Yeah.
or Cyrax crashing out on a panel because these trolls tried to get Goblin Tales, which is like a little animated short on Adult Swim. So Cyrax thinks he needs a cut of that money. And then
and those are big figures. Like you would have to go on a little deep dive, and then once you're in the deep dive, you're like, why are there 2-hour documentaries over Cyrax? Why is this rapper Danny Brown talking about him on his podcast? And it's like all these figures are like, it's so fascinating. Like I watched a documentary about 2 years ago about Boogie, about how he was the biggest streamer on YouTube, and he was getting his life together, and it's like he's like, okay, I do have this pending case. I do want to let you know I did pull a gun on one of these people, but they were harassing me.
Yeah. I mean, he's never going to win in the court of public opinion. I mean, that's why he's on Locale Live, and he's crashing out almost every other episode on Keemstar.
All the time.
All the time. And, I mean, like, I can't stand Boogie, to be honest with you. By the way, shout out Adam Carter. DSP needs money. Give it to him. Guys, I really need that money. Come on, guys, I really need that money. I need to pay all my back taxes.
And there for a while, I thought I was becoming a little bit of a locale myself with Sweeze and Swizzle, just because it was easy to pick fun at. It was easy to tear apart. Like, they knew my name. They knew where I lived. There was people, like, calling the local PD on, like, Sway's legal issues. Like, it got a little to a point where I'm like, am I the locale? How does one locale, how do you become self-aware as a locale? Like, and then you're like, no, I can't be that bad. Surely not. And then it's like, I got people every chat I go into saying, shout out Sumo, Sweeze is here. We don't want Sweeze on our podcast. We'll have Sumo though. And I'm like, he can't use the computer without me. I have to be on. You don't get Sumo without Sweeze.
Yes, exactly.
He's my son.
He is my child. He is my pride and joy.
You will not talk to me and my child like this.
Oh my god.
But yeah. Oh, dude, locales. Fish Tank. I was pretty big into like
fatty, dude.
Yeah, so Fish Tank, and I was big into that this summer, and I've continued to look at all these locales to where it's like whatever Sam Hyde's doing, because not only does like this Skankfest, this comedy festival that I go to all the time with Louis J. Gomez, they've got Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. They perform at the pre-party show. Like, that crossover between comedy podcasting goes into the Juggalos with ICP. They brought them into the comedy festival, and then finally the Sam Hyde $1 Million Extreme Universe got into Skankfest, the comedy festival. So I mean, once they add like pro wrestling, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, one of the comics is commentary for them. So like, that's another end. And once that happens, where you have Juggalos, Sam Hyde, Louis J. Gomez, and wrestling, that's heaven.
Yeah.
That's
it is. And Sam Hyde, man, I always get a kick out of like, and these are just trolls on the internet just being trolls, but but Sam Hyde, like, they would always be like, okay, there's like a school shooting or something going on, and these internet trolls, they are almost borderline sick, because like they'd be like, we've identified the shooter, and it's a picture of Sam Hyde.
Yeah, and they were doing that. There were some people in that Gas Digital universe that would start doing that to me and Sweeze and Swizzle. And it's like, hold up, guys, we're actually people. Like, don't be putting out all rumors like this, because somebody might actually believe that Sweeze did crash out, because that could happen. So, I just told them, like, it's hard to stand on the line between being an entertainer and a locale, but wherever this journey takes me.
I mean, if I get rage baited, I get rage baited. But Adam's shooting us another message on in the chat saying Boogie couldn't survive without locale. He faked cancer. Well, actually, I mean, he's got the tattoo saying liar on there.
Oh, Keemstar instigated that so bad. It was like, this is gaslighting 101. Like, this is exactly
bad.
This is Boogie's worst combination, is to be a part of all this. And like, some people said that with me in podcasting, but sometimes it takes a year to figure out how to get things going. But
it really is.
With all the anticipation, we finally did it, Tyler. Tyler Liger.
We did it. But like, the one person I hate absolutely despise in the locale in the LCU or whatever the flip they want to call it, Becky freaking Boop. I absolutely hate that bitch. All she does is sit there and she crashes out. She cries on stream. She yells at Keemstar, and then she like jumps out of the chat, and then she jumps back in. Well, Keemstar. I mean, she crashes out so bad, and then the fat camp where like Wings crashed out and pushed his wife over, which
That was just.
and now Wings is just a shell of a man, dude. You can tell like he's fallen from grace, and here's the deal. For a while in the locale live, I didn't mind Wings. I was like, dude, Wings could actually be redeemed, and then he pushed his wife over, and then like, I mean, I understand the deal in the car where his wife was just being a really shitty driver and be like, hey, don't do that, like, but it was almost like a little too physical. So like that's why Breaking Banquet and all those guys, all those troll channels, just they have a field day with Wings just because. And Wings could shut it down. I mean, he could be like, hey, I'll work with you guys. I'll do stupid shit and I'll be a clown on the internet. But just I mean, there's no saving him though.
I really enjoy like when he started from like that Painkiller Already podcast, PKA with Woody's Gamertag and Kyle, Wings of Redemption was on that for about 100 episodes, and that's about how long his sanity lasts, is about 100, maybe 2 years we get out of Wings of Redemption. And then, they're not doing the Creator Clash this year, which is a big bummer on my side, because, that's something I always look forward to, like, at the end of every summer is just, I'm going to see some creators that I don't know, but at least there's going to be, like, a locale or two at the Creator Clash. So, and it's just not happening this year, and, man... all of the people we looked up to years ago have fallen on tough times.
Yeah, I mean, I never cared for Low Tier God. I never cared for Darkside Phil. I mean, here's a funny thing: was Craig was a big fan of Darkside Phil. Like, would watch DSP and DSP
Insanity.
Yeah, and now
it's like Schizophrenic Simulator.
Oh my gosh. And it's gotten to the point where like Phil just sits in this room by himself and he's just shouting at the void, and and then these poor people that throw money at him. I mean, here's somebody else that I want to really get on the show, and by all means let's clip this. PWR World, hey, come on in, join us for our show. We love to get kind of a viewpoint from a former fan, now probably in the eyes of Phil, now a detractor. I love that he refers to Phil as the other product.
Yeah.
But I love PWR World. So here's something that we would love to do, and I don't know if I brought this up, is to do Liger Sweeze Mania and do that around WrestleMania. And bring in all of our friends, like you, me. We'll bring in Ed. We'll bring in Rick. We'll bring Rex in. We'll bring Duke, and we'll bring in Kale, who is a huge wrestling fan. And then also bring in some really special guests, like PWR World is one. And then there's another huge one. There's a huge fish I want to go get. And it's, and if you know any comedians that are down with wrestling and they know they're wrestling, man, let's bring them on. And then what we're doing is we're sitting around for 6 hours and all we're doing is talking wrestling. The big one I want to get is Cleo IT. She is she's a VTuber. She has had many lives, and being a pro wrestler was one of them. And while she was training, she got dumped on her head, and the doctor said, no more. So she ended up being a history professor and a journalist. So I was like, oh shit, I relate to this. And so the big goal is to maybe get her on, and we're talking wrestling because she knows her wrestling. I think she weighed in on Hulk Hogan's passing, and we could do that while we're here. And then along with a few other things involving the WWE, but I guess that's a great segue into good old Hogan, right?
Yeah, I think so. I would say that my first wrestling match was Sting Starrcade '97. I wasn't around for the Bash on the Beach Hill turn. I saw his WWE run with Shawn Michaels, which is kind of infamous. I watched Hogan's Knows Best, the reality show, a lot sooner than I'd care to admit. But I did watch a couple Hogan Knows Best episodes to remember the Hulkster. A lot of what I grew up on, WCW, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, cruiserweights were the highlight, and then the NWO was always when we changed over because it was typically promo, so we had watched whatever was on Raw at the time. So a lot of the Hulk Hogan and politicking and stuff like that, I'm thinking like, okay, this guy basically destroyed TNA for me at one point in my 10 years after the fact. So so much added up to where I don't think he was the reason I watched wrestling. I was much more into the Macho Man or Sting, and then eventually when Terry Funk and Mankind went off the stage in a dumpster, that's when I turned to WWE over WCW. So Hulk Hogan did pass tragically a couple weeks ago now. I don't. What's so different about it? If he would have died, let's say, 15 years ago, before the Gawker trial, before the sex tape, before the audio releases, I would feel a lot differently. He's the biggest wrestling person next to Vince McMahon. That's the biggest news story. But with all this to throw dirt on his name and to have one of your main roster guys, Jey Uso, say, I wasn't crying at the funeral. I was more getting motivated because of what I was about to do to make my name more synonymous with Hulk Hogan. It's okay, Jey Uso, maybe, but in 20 years, I'm pretty sure Hulk Hogan's going to be bigger than Yeats.
Yeah.
So I don't have much memories of it. I don't like the dirt sheets, and there's a side to Twitter that gets you so riled up and so upset, and then they don't even have a profile picture. And it's oh, you have no followers, and you're just sitting here just causing chaos. So it was a lot of ups and downs for me personally, because I remember the moments. I don't think of them as fondly now, but I understand why people feel the certain way that they do. If I had a personal connection to Hulk Hogan, I would feel a lot differently, but it came and went to me. But it is probably the biggest news story.
At least this year, as far as the wrestling world is concerned. I grew up on Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, believe in yourself, brother.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, I knew who Hulk Hogan was when I was little. That's how much of an impact that he had. And I realized that over time, his legacy became more and more complicated. He was one of those guys. I think the guaranteed contracts was one of the death knells for WCW because it kind of blocked. And that's why they don't do guaranteed contracts like any other sport, because you never know who's going to get really hot. I know Goldberg was kind of manufactured, but Goldberg still got hot. But you could have an Eddie Guerrero or a Chris Jericho or a Rey Mysterio or a Juventud Guerrera or any one of these guys could have gotten really hot. And you need somebody like that to be elevated. And there's Sumo Bear! Sumo Bear! Sumo Bear!
He had to make an appearance.
Yep, he made an appearance on the podcast.
Someone in the comments say skip to 2 hours 14 minutes for a sumo appearance.
Yes, Sumo Bear.
There, you made your appearance.
Yeah,
all right,
he made
go
his
downstairs, go
appearance.
outside.
Yeah, but I grew through. I was a fan through the NWO period, and it is what it is. You know, that won't do it for me, brother. And then you had Bash at the Beach, which had that. Was it Bash at the Beach where like they had the incident with Russo? I think so.
Bash at the Beach is 99.
Yeah. So they
It was
had
3 years.
Yeah.
They had the biggest moment in wrestling with the heel turn in '96, and then within 3 years, it all went downhill because Jeff Jarrett just lays down. It's like, dude.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous, but I mean,
Do you think Dark Side of the Ring, now that Dark Side of the Ring's all out, does that change how you feel about how you thought of it when you, like, does that sway your opinion at all?
I knew of everything that went on when J.D. Reynolds released the Death of WCW book.
Yeah.
And also, like, R.D. Reynolds, like, he knew all that stuff, which was really cool. So, I mean, I was aware of all that when the Dark Side of the Ring stuff came out.
Yeah.
Big shout out R.D. Reynolds. I remember, like, okay, and this is what turned me off on R.D. was he does the whole Wrestle Crap site, and he brought on Vince Russo for a show, and he starts it off with like, which Catwoman out of the Batman '66 show is your favorite? And I was like, done, out. Like, hit him with the hard questions, man. Be like, man, like, you know, what the hell happened to WCW? Like, why did you do this? Like, why do you book all these run-ins and shit? And like, Hogan has a very complicated legacy. There's a lot of good that he did, but he also was detrimental to a lot of things. That, you know, you don't speak any ill of the dead. That's what I'm all about. Is just, you know, you did your thing, dude. But you know, I think there was an old joke that would get around is you either die Macho Man Randy Savage or you live long enough to become Hulk Hogan, and that's basically the truth.
Yeah. Or you're like Ric Flair and have a traumatic event like your son dying of heroin, and then you go on comedy podcast and ruin the vibe multiple times. Because have you ever seen those?
No, I have not.
Yeah, he went on probably 3 of the biggest podcasts and didn't get the concept, was willing and dealing. And I just think I'm glad Hulk went out the way he did, because, I mean, if you don't know that much detail of it, he was basically couldn't speak the last month after certain surgeries, and for him to be in that type of situation, Jimmy Hart puts out a tweet and says, everybody, the Hulkster's fine, he's gonna live forever, and he died like 3 days later. And it's like, man, in a situation like this, you don't want to be on the wrong side of like the one saying the comments. And that's what I've been really because I used to work for one of the popular dirt sheets. I worked for them for several years, and the way we would get press releases was literally just like AOL Instant Messenger, like old school Outlook. It was like the worst archaic system, and it was literally just press release, and you take it and you interpret it your own way. And it's like, if people knew about Hulk's status before it actually happened, he was able to be honored at 3 shows, mind you, of WWE. With all the Vince stuff going on last year, with all the Hulk Hogan complicated legacy, they still honored him at Raw, NXT, SmackDown, 10-bell salute, and brought his son there. And like, seeing all the legends, it's probably the last time a lot of those legends will get together, because we're getting old, Tyler. We're getting really old. Yeah. It's really depressing to be a wrestling fan.
I'm old, I'm tired, I'm sick of dealing with fucking children, right?
Yes, exactly. So I'm very excited to hear like Rick's perspective on certain things, because I'm a wrestling fan. Like, I watched the era from 2008 to 2019 before the boom happened. I saw the fall of TNA. I watched all of TNA when it was miserable. I watched so much of the NXT garbage slop that everything put out before the development center. I got so many random mid-carders who didn't even make it to the main roster, who would have been big, but then went to New Japan. I'm probably the only one out of my friend group that I know that stays up and watches like New Japan Live, because I'm up at that time. So you know, I'm very different from Attitude Era, so like I'm able to talk with the Attitude Era fans and be like, oh well, have you ever sat through an episode of Monday Night Raw lately? There's a lot of boring segments on those Attitude Era stuff, so I like to compromise and meet in the middle. And with Hulk Hogan, it's like I appreciate what he did for the business.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
And that's about all I can, yeah.
That's all you can do, really, is just, hey, I appreciate all you've done for the business. It is what it is. I mean, there's good, there's bad. You shrug your shoulders. I mean, you can say, like, Dusty Rhodes is complicated. Ric Flair is complicated. I mean, you could say anybody's complicated, but what people will remember most will probably be, the Hulkamania, the red,
not the
movies.
Red
and the gold.
I was like, the movies were terrible.
Fireman's brother. That's what people will remember most. It's not so much the bad things. It'll be the good. It'll be the good things.
It's the Hogan Knows Best clip where he's listening to Young Jeezy, the rapper, and it's like, 100s on the table, 20s on the floor, and I love it, and I love it. And Hogan just rewinds it, and it's like, 100s on the table, 20s on the floor, and I love it. And then Hogan rewinds it again, and the third time he's just singing it word for word. It's like, man. There are some great moments in Hogan Knows Best. Shout out to YouTubers that make those highlights.
Yeah,
it's so easy to catch on 3 seasons of a show and 20-minute YouTube videos. So
makes it all digestible.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate clippers, man. I appreciate clippers, especially like, there's a few clippers I follow. Synchro. Low effort clips is what his YouTube deal is. He's got some good ones. There's some other ones out there. They're kind of off the tip of my tongue right now, but they're great. I mean, YouTube wouldn't be YouTube like something like this, like a live stream probably wouldn't be as digestible if it wasn't for clips where like somebody would come in. Either you or me or somebody else would come in and be like, yeah, we're gonna clip these guys like freaking out or talking about something, or oh hey, here's what they want. And plus YouTube shorts are so huge now just because of the whole TikTok thing. And I mean, I see more people do more Instagram reels and YouTube shorts. Although people do love their TikTok, but for dinosaurs like me, I don't really do TikTok. I think I did like one TikTok, and I basically flipped off the camera and that's it.
It was like a little dance move you did, and then you're like, enough of this. I'm okay. I don't need to be a dancer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's like what I like to do. There's several podcasts that have a small following, like a sibling rivalry. Anytime I'm asked to do that podcast, I'll go on it and I'll do whatever I can for it. And just finding the clips and what'll hit the algorithm and kind of what topics you're going for. And like with this podcast, it's kind of just like, okay, here's what we know about. We can talk about this for hours, and then eventually, something's going to hit the stride where it's like, what we're doing, we have a good idea of where it's headed and what the goal is. But, some of those YouTube clip people, they just do it for clickbait. They just do it to get the views.
Yeah,
and that's what's kind of hard to avoid nowadays.
They're going to be like, oh man, Sweeze crashes out over... Sweeze crashes out over so and so. Tyler Liger crashes out over this, and then they do these big capital letters. And it's like,
the Mr. Beast thumbnails. It's like, oh no, Sweeze has done it again. And just red and blue lights on it. So,
my gosh.
I can't wait till we get to that point, because that's the honest goal for me as far as just doing content. And I've been doing a lot of streaming on, I play a lot of WWE video games, and I'll fantasy
book those. I'll stream those. Thought about doing voiceovers and stuff, just, getting back into just something that stands out from what, only so many people know about Shane Gillis and the Philly comedy scene, which is now the Austin comedy scene. And then outside of that, only so many people know about stand-up comedy or wrestling or talking about, and then the different types of wrestling shows you could do, like reaction shows, wrap-up shows, your own columns, which is what I used to do. But like being a beat writer for a dirt sheet nowadays, I'm just thinking like, okay, I think I know where this is headed and what it's doing and where I'm going from here. So it's probably easiest if I just take the reins and do it how we want to do it, just get it all out there. We're doing it, Tyler. We're finally doing it.
We're doing it. We
got the mics and everything. Unfiltered Podcast, Episode 2, first episode featuring Sweeze.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is, I tell you what, like, there's a lot of, like, internet culture that I'm kind of aware of. And, I mean, I don't completely stick my head in the sand. I'm kind of a very passive watcher. Like, I'm a lurker. But, I mean, I put, like, streamers on. And what's crazy is, when I started really kind of watching a lot of YouTube, I watched a lot of Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still do. I'm a Dr. Disrespect truther.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the worst thing to be?
And, like, I mean, I used to get, like, all the shirts and everything. I mean, I would rock, like, a Doc shirt. And, and when the thing came out about him and where he pretty much, like, kind of, in a very subtle way, he kind of admitted it. Which, here's my take on this, and clip this. Is Doc, just show receipts. All you got to do is show receipts. That will absolve you. I know you can't do that because of lawyers and lawsuits or whatever, but in the court of public opinion, if you show your receipts and say, hey, like, we just made jokes, or hey, like, we never got into that sort of territory, like, then you can be absolved. Then people will forgive you. And I know there's a lot of people that have probably already forgiven and moved on, but I mean, my take on that is like, dude, Doc, just show the receipts. If you feel that you're in the clear, show your receipts. And I'll come back to you. I'll watch your streams. I'll do the super chats. I'll buy your merch again. But until that happens, I'll go watch, like, Conical Lumi, and I'll watch Olivia Monroe and
Nick Merckx.
Dude, that guy's neck, he's like this. He's like this.
Oh, and on Rogan they had the head where it was like he had wore his headset so long it was like an inch deep down.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so like Tyler won. So Tyler won. Like he would wear his headset for so long that like he started to get like an actual dent in his head. And I always thought Tyler One looked like a chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and I've never met Tyler One. I think he might be a really cool dude. But he, like, look at him and don't tell me for a second that he's one of those anthropomorphic chicken nuggets that would show up at like McDonald's commercials in the 90s. Don't fool me. Like, just, I was like, dude. I mean, and his brother E-Rob is really cool. Like, I always got good vibes out of E-Rob. And they're all part of that Poggers community, and I think that's all right. It's cool. I'm not a big Mizkif guy like I used to be, but I do dig S-Fan. I think S-Fan's pretty cool. He used to play football until he got into streaming. But I mean, he had his share of trouble. But I think he's an all right guy.
Yeah.
But like,
just guys being dudes.
Yeah, guys being dudes. And then there was like a few people like kind of in that group that like they got in trouble, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna follow these people too much anymore. And I don't know.
I think when I go to a comedy show and then the comedian that I interact with on Twitter all the time, it seems super cool, and like I put out clips, promotion and stuff. Then when I meet them in person and they're rude to me, I just stop supporting them, and then I feel like me stopping and supporting them, just like you're talking about with Doc, is just like, yeah, that he doesn't have those genuine fans that feel like you do about it. And like someone like me comes back after like a year of not watching me, like, oh, Doc's got a new video, cool. I'm like, nah, I remember what this guy did to us. I'm just like making it an us thing where it's like, when you got a community, when you build your brand, I think the statement was just awful. I just show receipts is what it is. I've always been somebody that is big on just have the proof and go with what it is. Because, comedy scene, gaming scene, streaming scene, all the scenes are different, but, like, just be a decent person at the end of the day. Like, what I've just built through, like, having fans of the group chats of the podcast I follow has given me, like, a good release into the world of, like, what I want to make my strengths and what I want my focus to be. And it shows that I'm not alone, because, I've been talking about a podcast for a year. We're on this podcast just throwing it all together. We're 2.5 hours in, and like 6 months ago, we wouldn't have thought 2.5 hours, what are we going to talk about? Like things just fall into place. And, if you're listening to this and if you're kind of just struggling, like how to feel, like based on what your algorithm pushes you towards, it's just like try something new, do something that's risky, do whatever it takes to just put yourself out there, and eventually you'll figure out a path, figure out what you want to do, and go for it. So I'm excited to be here and a part of it, and it was a great episode last week with you and Ed. It was a great introduction for everything. So I think we learned a lot. Yeah,
we learned a lot. There's a little bit of early installment weirdness too. There's always early installment weirdness. I hope people go back. Like I hope like the documentary channels like Wavy Web Surf. Or shout out Wavy Web Surf.
Chris D something.
Yeah, Chris
is one.
Turkey Tom.
Turkey Tom.
If I ever get like become a locale or whatever, it's like okay, I can point back to that and I can be like, hey man, early installment weirdness. Like this was and they can even go back on my original channel and look at my live streams, and I was like, dude, I always had Craig on. Or like I had another friend that developed a game, and I played a game that he developed called War Pigs. And,
you can tell from those streams that like you've taken everything that you've learned along the way, tied it into this to what it is now, and like very excited, for you and Craig and stuff. Like I'm sure he's coming on, sure.
Oh, I'm sure he's just got to figure out the whole camera and the mic thing too, and. That's the biggest thing.
There's a place called Micro Center. That's what I found about 2 years ago, and it literally changed the game. Because, how can you do wrong with a mic like this? Where it's just like, that was like $50, and then the local Best Buy. Well, I say Best Buy in Amarillo, like it has a lot of options, but like they don't, and Micro Center did, and. Anybody can have a podcast nowadays, but if anybody's listening to this, my final message would be to just follow your dreams. We did it.
Yeah, and one of those people happens to be good old Carter, who's in our chat right now, and I like being on some of those streams, and they were fun, because really it's just you watching me play video games and talking with my friends. Because unfortunately, like, oh man, so like, okay. And speaking of Adam, I'm gonna pick on him just a little bit, and it's really not even picking on him. So what we used to do, way back in the day, is we used to go in his basement, and we would make our own creator wrestlers on like SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain.
PS2 era.
Yeah, PS2 era, which is the best era.
Yeah, Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, that's arguably the only game that stands. Yeah.
And what we would do is we'd have our own little wrestling leagues. It was, me, Ray, good old Ray. I got stories about Ray. Good old.
Yeah.
and Ray, Adam, Dan Tracy, and then there's also like, and Craig got to be part of that group too. So like we all would converge. Like I remember it was like before SummerSlam, we did our own little pay-per-view, and you know, like I created these characters. Like I created like David Allister, and I created Bad Bob Hickory. And Bad Bob Hickory's origin story is really hilarious because Ray and I went to Adventureland, and Ray has epilepsy, something terrible, so he can't go on any of the rides. But he could go to he could go on the Underground, which is like this dark ride, and it's got really funny lore. It's like an old west, and there's like a gold mine underneath the amusement park, and the big bad in it is called Bad Bob. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna make Bad Bob. I'll make it for the lulz. And dude, Bad Bob was a badass dude. He come into JBL's theme, you know, and he did the Crossroads as one of his finishers.
Yeah.
And then he did. Oh, Bad Bob is a true legend. He is a true legend indeed. And Bad Bob, we put him in a gimmick battle royal with these 30 other characters, and he wins the gimmick battle royal because he's such a badass. And Bad Bob had a really cool move, which I called the Badman from Adventureland Slam, which was like it was almost like a torture rack into a power bomb, which was kind of really cool. And he goes on to fight for the U.S. title. It's against one of a guy that he's like, oh man, he's called Draven. Well, you know, off of the Crow, because everybody thought the Crow was a badass. So his name is Draven, and it's basically Sting. And I was like, okay, who else is in that match? Does anybody remember? And like the guy was like, Booker T, he's in there. So we threw in Booker T. So Bad Bob goes on a tear. Bad Bob was like a long time U.S. champion, which was really funny. Gosh, and then Ray would have like moments where like he'd be talking with Adam, and Adam would say something, and Ray would get pissed off, and Ray would be like, "I'm gonna make you tap a day reckoning, bitch. I'm the ninja master." So what I did one time is I was like, you know what, I'm gonna run with it. It's gonna be so good. So I made I copied Ray's character, which was like this zombie looking character. It was really cool. Sean put it together, like his younger brother Sean put it together. And Sean's now in IT. He's doing really great. And I created the Ninja Master, and Ray was like, oh man, that's so freaking cool, dude. Oh, hell no. So like, I mean, good times on SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. And I remember the one time I was playing with Craig, and I think it was a Hell in a Cell match, and he created AJ Styles because, I mean, back then he was in the AJ and Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, and so what I do is I do a shooting star press off of the cell, and I land it. And I mean, Craig popped, and he still pops about it to this day. So, oh, good old SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain, dude. Oh. I think we got you muted. Uh-oh. Hang in there, buddy. Keep trying it. Uh-oh. Anywho, while Sweeze is getting that. Uh-oh. Cross the fingers. Nope. And I mean, you got. Okay, all right. I don't know. Did the mic just decide to just give out? Okay. I'll be patient. I should just tell another story. I'm full of them. I'd read the chat. Oh, okay. All right. I remember. Okay. All right. I'll just read the chat. So I remember when Ray told me he would make me tap at Day of Reckoning because I told him to shut up when I said chill out. Oh my God. Yeah, that was so good. Yeah. I'm going to make you tap a Day of Reckoning, bitch. There you go. You're back.
I'm back.
You're back.
Okay, had to take it old school. Had to go directly to the computer, but probably using my laptop sound, so it's probably not the best. But I figured with 2 hours and 45 minutes into this, we should be good on content.
Yeah, we should be
right?
more than enough, and we'll probably wrap it up before the 3 hour mark because I think with Ed, I think we only went 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
Next time I'm gonna actually use like the way it actually comes. I'm gonna be like, okay, instead of having it so like, what happened was the wires just when Sumo came, he jumped on it, and then like I put it back and adjusted it, and it just fell out. And I was like, okay, no more dog jumps in the middle of the podcast. And I mean, this is probably the last time I'll be in a beanbag too. It's just not very comfortable.
Yeah.
Unless I get it. See. Oh, so many wires, but yeah. No, this was incredible. This was great. I think we covered a lot of topics. I don't think anybody will come and slander us for what we did.
No.
We were being good boys today.
Yeah, we were
Unfiltered. On our best behavior.
On our best behavior. Yeah. I don't get like riled up too much. Most people I run into, I'm very positive towards. I love seeing my friends pop in the chat. I love being able to tell stories like that are very positive. I can make fun of a Dark Side Phil, or I can make fun of like a Cyrax, because unless Cyrax makes a video, and maybe someday Cyrax makes a video and says, "Oh man, that Tyler Liger and that Sweeze, they're all the way up here, and they're coming down all the way down here, and they've been making fun of me for the last 7 motherfucking years because they pissed Marty," and going crazy. And if that happens, I'm totally clipping that.
It's a possibility too.
If Cyrax crashes out on us, dude, like I would love to see N-word boy like clip it, and then for us to like just talk about it, because that would be hilarious. Because what Cyrax will do is, let me do an example. Let me turn off the light real quick. He would sit in this room, and he would have his eyes closed. He'd, shake his head. Everybody hates me. Everybody makes fun of me. Just because I look different, they're jealous because of my music career. But they don't know the struggle I have to go through every day with my mom, who's actually my grandma that I beat up one time and I had to go to jail for, and Ed, who I really have a fixation about. And they go after my friends and my family, and I can't stand them. I just want to be left alone and have fun and make my music and play video games. It's like, dude, Cyrax, just quit messaging minors, dude.
Yeah, and that's and I don't know if when I was on Sibling Revelry, I had gotten into a little tiff with Corey Feldman, movie star Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman of all people.
Yeah, so basically the lore on Corey Feldman's kind of notorious for like, don't make fun of me, I'm a musician, and he does all this crazy music, and he like does these guitar solos, and like Sirius XM, Big J Okerson kind of got into a feud with like making fun of him and mocking him, so they started calling him detractors, similar, just something like that. So Douglas is a dope, Doug on Sibling Revelry was talking about how Corey Feldman, I loved you in the 80s, because they do like a classic movie review, and they're big comic book nerds, and the Goonies. So Corey Feldman was really highly regarded in Doug's eyes. So he had made a documentary about his life, and then somebody that follows Doug had said, hey, yeah, here's a link right here to it. And then on his show, he was just like, Corey Feldman, you really disappointed me. You blocked me and my friend on X, and I'm just going to make it a stand to where I'm going to have you on Sibling Revelry to apologize to us. And I clipped it and sent it to Corey Feldman in a DM on Twitter. Just so happens he responded to me. and me and Corey Feldman had a back and forth while in the comments and on X, he was responding to threads, and everyone's like, who the hell's this Sweeze guy? Why is Corey Feldman so mad at him? So he was threatening to sue, and he called Doug like the worst fan ever. And then finally Doug just was like, I was like, Doug, please wake up. It's 5 a.m. and Corey Feldman's coming at me. So then, he made his way back, and then he was telling Corey Feldman, he's like, you know what, dude? I really liked you in these movies, and I liked you in all this, and your music career, it's okay. But I'm going to share this photo from what we shared 20 years ago. And he's just like, Sweeze, you're the man. Like, whatever we think can happen, you manifested Corey Feldman to make you an enemy. And I'm like, guys, I'm not even that worried about Corey Feldman. And they're like, you should be. He's famous. And I'm like, all right, we get some Cyrax or some Dark Side Phil on here.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very, very entertaining for Unfiltered podcasts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I have, okay, all right. I mean, we don't have the shared screen set up just yet.
Yeah.
And I mean, we will next time. Then we'll go over some of Cyrax's greatest hits, probably his greatest misadventures, and I'll paint the picture and everything.
Cyrax, right?
Yeah, Cyrax.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Cyrax. I got some good research I can add on that too as well. So I've been tuned in. I've been tapped into the streets on Cyrax.
Yeah. Or another good one is World of T-Shirts with Josh Blow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I watch him daily. It's basically my daily watch when I go to the bathroom. I'm like, what's he up to now?
Hey, so Josh, put the fries in the bag.
Guys.
No, bitch! No, you put the fries on the bag! And he just goes on these epic crash outs, and he starts hitting people, and he starts hitting himself. No, that's Daniel Larson that starts hitting himself, but...
Daniel Larson was infamous for being like, ah!
He drops like slurs, and then he pulls fire alarms at like Olive Garden and shit, and then he's in prison now. Like,
yeah, he's supposedly he was looking at like 30 years domestic terrorism. Like, somehow he just weaseled his way into it.
You just can't go on TikTok and threaten to bomb the White House. Like,
gosh, yeah,
bomb you. That was or one of my favorite ones is like, okay, so like I used to watch a lot of Bass Shaman, and I love Bass Shaman, dude, and for him to like vanish from the internet, it's sad, because I love Bass Shaman, but what happened was he would always do this, like, so fans would be like, okay, they would super chat, and they'd be like, hey, get Daniel Larson hitting his head against a wall while playing like Walk by Pantera. And so Shaman would put up the video, and it's so good because, like, you know, Daniel Larson's like, I know what he's doing. Then he like just basically headbutts a wall, like full blown. And like, I mean, that's a great way of like losing brain cells and getting concussions and just all you know, being 20,000 leagues of fucked up and, you know, all that funny shit that, you know, like like they would just do that, and like Daniel Larson would just headbutt random shit. And oh gosh,
I like the Mohawk era when like some people gave him a haircut, so you just rocked it for like months.
Or he was going. He announced he announced that he was running for president, so people started calling him Mr. President.
yeah. That's...
It's like, yes, Mr. President, a second plane has hit the tower. Daniel Larson, man. And then, like, he had an unhealthy obsession with Grace Vanderwaal, and I'm like,
and
his mom was like Grace Vanderwaal's mom was like, you need to stay the fuck away from my daughter. And he's like, I understand. I understand. And then he would get these buddy trolls that would be like his managers and shit. hey, Daniel, we're going to get you onto a record deal. And Daniel would just be like, he's my manager. It's just
And what's crazy is that does happen. Like, I was getting some Sweeze and Swizzle people wanting to manage me, and I'm like, you can manage me, but I can't even manage myself. So, like, what are we even doing here? So, yeah.
I hate that. I'm managing like the Facebook page, the Kick page, YouTube. I don't need anybody else to do it for me. And honestly, this is just for us. This is fun.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for us to like unwind and just be like, okay, all right, we're gonna make fun of Daniel Larson. We're gonna make fun of like Cyrax. We're gonna talk about our week. We're gonna talk about all the cool people we've met, all the podcasts we listen to, or the VTubers we watch. But yeah, like I love it. It's just a way. It's a catharsis. You know, you get shit off your chest, and it's like, man, I remember when I did this, or I had to go through this shit, and now I'm like, I'm in a way better place, and yeah, it's out on the internet, but whatever,
Yeah.
People
like my whole life could be falling apart, but it's like, yeah, I'm doing a podcast and we're finally doing it. Like, yeah. that's gonna be what I'm gonna refer to this episode as. We're finally doing it.
My life is falling apart, but we're finally doing this.
Yes, we're finally doing this. So,
yeah. Oh man. Well, we're about to the 3-hour mark. I think your voice is starting to go out. I'm starting to.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm starting to go out too. I shot a little bit of golf earlier today, but other than that,
we got our reps in though today.
We got our reps in. We're back at 2 p.m. next Sunday. We'll try to come up with some topics, maybe some bullet points. I don't know. I'll kind of let you kind of navigate that a little bit, and then I'll probably be like, oh, Cyrax versus Music Biz Marty. We should watch this fight. Yeah,
and that's what I'm very excited about too, is like I have some Cyrax side stuff too, so like knowing that could be a topic, we could just build on that and go from there. But I mean, as far as just free form podcasting, like we know what we like, we know what our audience is. We're building our audience from nothing right now. So whoever is watching, and if you do watch this in the future, thank you for giving us a chance, and hope you give us many more chances, as this is the beginning of something great. So
yeah, it's gonna be fantastic, and and then once we get kind of Ed going a little bit too, man, we'll really be rolling, and especially when we start bringing on our recurring guests, because Rick's gonna be really, really fun. I'm looking forward to Rick. I'm looking forward to Kale. I'm looking forward. I can get Lance on. And get Lance to tell his greatest hits. And then I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to build up a library so we can be like, hey, let's go get whoever we want, bring them on. They yap with us for anywhere from about 90 minutes to 3 hours, and we just have a fun time doing this. So yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. I keep looking at the clock and I'm like, wow, we already went for almost 3 hours. That's insane.
Yeah, and see, like at a month ago, we didn't think this was all possible. So a tribute to us to actually putting things in motion. Things fell in the right place, and it's only upwards from here for sure.
Yeah,
got a lot planned out, I'm excited for. And if you don't like comedy podcasts, or if you don't like wrestling, then sound off in the comments on what you would like to hear, and if I don't know about it, I'll just be honest.
Yeah, by all means, and that's kind of a call, is if you got anything that you want us to talk about, or at least share some insights on, or if there's some stories that you want to hear out of either one of us, let us know. Comment down below. We also have a Kick page. Kick's been acting up on me, so right now I'm just streaming on YouTube, which that's okay. Nothing wrong with just streaming on YouTube for now. But just drop us a comment. you know, by all means, or heck, I mean, we have our socials down below in the description. And I thought it was my iPad that came on, and I was like, what the crap turned on that over there? But
Cyrax heard you. He's tapped
Cyrax
into your
heard me.
network.
He's gonna sit in his dark room. He's gonna shake his head. And he's gonna be like, I made a new enemy tonight. His name is not me, the best Marty. It's that damn Tyler Liger. You better leave my name out of your mouth. You know, like, you know, no, it's all good, man. But or even Darkside Phil. If like Darkside Phil like would call us like detractors, man, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Well, I may be making a new friend this week if that's what you think. Because this
Darkside
Phil
Phil.
guy, this Phil guy,
You know, hey,
coming for you.
he was the guy that choked his chicken on live stream once. So,
Oh, anyone has a Daniel Tuber. I don't know what that guy's ESPN correspondent at home.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But no, like, okay, before we
Happens to
go,
the best of us, Phil.
yeah, before we go, so I mean, I think I told this story to Ed. It was like, it was a pre-stream. Like, it was like Phil has like these really weird ass pre-streams. Like, it's before he goes on stream, and what he doesn't know is his camera is on, and it's like a little square in like, you know, the top right hand corner or wherever, and he's kind of you know, got his head down, kind of looking up stuff on the
Squiggling
computer.
and squirming.
Yeah, he's just kind of, his head's bobbing up and down, and then his like, you know, it looks like he found something, and his arm is going like this. His arm is going like this, and then like after a few minutes, we got another Sumo Bear sighting. Sumo Bear, Sumo Dog.
2 hours 56 minutes.
Yeah,
Clip
2
it.
hours 56 minutes. Sumo Bear makes his second appearance on the stream. So like Phil is like, you know, his arm is going like this, and then like after a few minutes, his head goes like this.
Oh no.
And he goes, then he's like he realizes his stream's on, and he
Yeah.
looks at the camera and he's like, oh, camera was on the whole time, huh? And he tried to deny it. He tried to like, you know, just sweep it aside until Keemstar covered it and reached out to Phil, and that's why like there's bad blood between DSP and Keem.
Sit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sumo.
He almost ripped the headphones out of my head.
Almost did, yeah. But yeah, like
Sumo Bear, Sumo Bear, Sumo Bear.
But yeah, like you know, in SummerSlam, somebody put up a sign that said, "Oh, camera was on the whole time, huh?" It was that picture. It was that. I was like, "It's good. It's really good. You should look that up. It's really funny."
Definitely.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna call it a night. We'll be back next Sunday at 2 p.m. Be there or be square. No Ed, so just me and Sweeze again. But I mean, it's all good.
Yep.
And then you know what I might do? We might have a little fun. We might bring Rick on. We'll see. Rick's
Yeah,
down
because
for
I'm
the
sure. Yeah, I was just thinking. It's out of the people that I really want to pick their brain, Rick would be the best one.
Yeah.
Especially just some of the insight. We've already kind of given the backstory of where it is, what we're talking about, and Rick's the man for it. Wrestling encyclopedia, isn't that what you call him?
Yeah, he is a walking, talking wrestling encyclopedia. If there's something out there, Rick will at least have some idea of it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll have him. We'll have him talk about Square Circle Pro. We'll have him hype up the next show. We'll have him talk about SummerSlam and some other things. And yeah, I'm sure he's itching to tell us. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but to all of our viewers out there, thank you for joining us. It has been Unfiltered with Tyler Anderson and
T-Sweeze.
Sweeze.
Featuring Sumo.
And he
I
evaded
tried to
the
get him in,
camera.
but yeah, he baited it. Come here. Say hi.
Say
Sumo
hi to
Bear.
Sumo Bear.
Sumo Bear. Sumo Bear.
Sumo
This is
Bear,
what
there
everyone's
he
waited
is.
for. Sumo has his own podcast now.
Yeah, he's on Unfiltered.
He thinks he's a star.
He is the star, man.
Don't hairball me.
Oh no! Oh no!
Dramatic ending. I get thrown up on by my dog.
That probably would have been clipped, but
Makes Sumo more of a hero, I guess. So.
yeah.
But anyways, I appreciate you having me on. This is great. We're on the new and great things, so very excited for it.
Oh man!
Thank you all for joining.
Yep, absolutely. And until next Sunday, hey, be good to each other.
Be cool, be chill.
Cool, be chill. Very cool, very chill. Except the gumbus in your life. Have a good one.
Yeah. I was just gonna stare into the screen.